You are now listening to the Sae Bae Cast, the #1 old school RuneScape podcast featuring guests from all across Galanor. To support this podcast, visit the Patreon link in the description.
All right, welcome to the Sae Bae Cast number 44 with Lucid Dream. Lucid Dream, how are you doing today, dude?
Doing pretty good. Just excited to, share some topics and talk about things.
Hell yeah. It's pretty cool getting you on, and I know I've mentioned this in other casts, but getting legends on, in my eyes, that, I felt like I would never get this opportunity to hear from, like, other content creators. And I know, you have a bit more of a real life now, and we'll kind of go into it, but you're still one of those really
I'm still around, so
yeah, you're one of those like unique content creators. Like we'll go into your history of like raids and everything like that. So
yeah,
and I'm really excited to talk. And
yeah, I'm excited to talk as well. Bring like a new light to some of the older like PvMers and stuff too.
Yeah,
Since, nowadays the new generation of PvMers, like, there's more familiar faces nowadays than there was, back in 2017 or before then, like before raids and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to hear it all. So, first things first, let's just kind of go into some introductions, I guess. So, what kind of got you into the game? And, yeah, I guess that'll be the first question. What got you into RuneScape?
Yeah,
and when?
Probably like, I don't know exactly when. I had to have been like in like middle school or something, probably like 6th grade or something. Everyone was playing RuneScape. I had lots of friends that were like, oh, let's play this game and stuff, and really like casual things. I don't even really remember too much from back then because it's been so long, but I started playing pre-EOC, then quit for a while when EOC came out, just like pretty much everyone. And I had like a lot of friends that came back for old school, but when I came back, I was actually still playing RS3 for a while. Like I maxed my account on there, then I got kind of bored and switched over to old school when like GE came out, and started playing back then, but pretty casually. And I feel like back then no one was really efficient. People didn't really have this efficient mindset that you have nowadays. You just played for fun, and you were just like a little kid that did whatever and got scammed and lured and all this stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now it's all about like saving the most ticks possible. Didn't even know what ticks were back then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, I remember thinking this game had like lag. I thought, because I didn't understand the tick system, so I thought whenever I clicked and I didn't instantly move, it was just like pure latency.
Oh, well, I don't really remember how laggy it used to be, but I'm sure it probably was a little laggy still.
Oh yeah, no, we still have
yeah.
lag, but like I used to think if I am not moving instantaneously, like this game is just laggy, but it's just waiting for the next tick.
Yeah, exactly.
So
no one really understood any of that stuff back. I'm sure like some people did, but
yeah,
it wasn't really as like widely accepted, I guess, to be efficient or whatever.
Yeah. See, I didn't really play back before 2013. Even before 2015. I only played from 2004 to 2007. So I didn't really see the progression of players. I knew there was like Zezima. Who knows how efficient that guy was though? Like,
yeah, I don't even. Obviously everyone, once you hear that name, you recognize it, but I don't really know. How long did it take to do? How efficient it was and whatnot.
Yeah, who knows? Or maybe he just played 18 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
yeah.
So what is? I know the game has evolved RS3, but what is the difference between like RS3 PVM or just, I guess, content with skill involved versus OSRS now with arguably many things that are actually difficult, not just.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, people always say, RS3 easy scape, this and that, but I feel like the PVM is actually almost harder just because they have all the abilities, and like their switch scape just like old school is now. There's lots of switches involved there. The bosses are quite challenging. You have really big PVM names over there like Couchy, and I think Evil Lucario is his name. Um, I mean, you got lit up, Sad, and all those other names that are big on the RS3 side, and those guys, like you watch them play, and you're just like, what is going on? I don't even understand this. It just looks crazy.
Are those like the Wookses of RS3? Because I think I've
Yeah,
heard of
yeah,
a couple
like
of those, but
Evo Lucario and Couchy are like some of the better PVMers over there. They're like the Wooks pretty much.
wow, that's sick.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're just because their combat system's different. I think they can add in more mechanics that are more challenging, like that have to do with timing and stuff too. I mean, I don't know if you've seen anything about Telos and all the other end game bosses over there, but they definitely seem pretty challenging. I mean, the farthest I got was like Duo Nex and Duo Calphite King and stuff. I didn't really like. I guess Araxor was probably like the hardest that I got like back then.
So what is the hardest boss in RS3 right now?
I don't even know. I don't know if it's like Solak or if it's I guess Telos maybe. Maybe there's that new Glacier boss because they have an enrage system now where like the more you kill it, the harder it can get. You can like have your
Oh
enrage go up,
yeah.
so like the boss like hits harder and has more HP and
And then if you die, you lose it all, right? Like so that's the risk
yeah,
involved.
like streaking, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I think the more kills you get, the better the loot gets and stuff too. So I mean, it'd be pretty cool to have some stuff like that in old school where like enrage mechanics where
Yeah,
stuff
no,
just gets
I'm
harder over time. But I think that's where they were going with Tombs of a Masket. I mean, kind of jumping from one point to another here, but they had that forgot what they called it, like a system thing where I forgot what they said that they were.
their invocations.
Yeah, the invocations. Yeah,
Yeah.
so pretty much you can add more stuff to make it harder. So I think that's kind of like an in-range system, but maybe it suits old school a little bit more. Because I think RS3 with the enrage system, they have all like the defense abilities and all this and that, and I think that that is able to let them push the enrage. On old school we're capped on DPS and stuff, and if the enrage gets too high, you're not going to be able to meet those DPS checks.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
maybe the invocations fit a little bit better.
Yeah, and I also wonder, does RS3 balance their PVM content around PvP as well? Like, is PvP even a thing in RS3? I feel like I've never
Uh,
seen anybody fight each other in RS3 now.
it was like a really big thing, back in the day with like Karasi Sword and all that stuff pre EOC, but I don't know. I mean, I think there still is people that PK, but it's probably like I mean, old school PK and community is so small, let alone RS3 is probably like nothing pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's
But
kind of unfortunate.
it is like is like the gear in RS3 trying to accommodate both PVM and PvP and trying to find a fine balance, or are there like restrictions in PvP with
I don't
certain
even know,
weapons?
to be honest. I know, in old school, there's certain weapons that, you can't use in PvP or they're capped.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it works in RS3. I haven't really, like, kept up with it too much, but, I mean, obviously, before I came to OSRS, I was playing that for a while and stuff, so, but even back then, I wasn't even efficient. Like, I just played.
Yeah. So I heard on Twitter that the Inferno's coming to RS3. I saw a little
Yeah,
Tizkal Zook little preview.
yeah, they just announced that today. I thought that was interesting. Because usually we get RS3 stuff, so
Yeah, is this
we're
the
getting
first
old
time
school
ever?
stuff.
Is this like
Probably,
I've never heard of the reversal going on, so.
yeah. But I mean, it looked pretty cool. It stands up as well, and like you fight it one on one instead of him just sitting on his throne.
Oh wow. Okay,
So
so
he
it's
has like a massive two-handed sword, and I don't know what the mechanics are gonna be, but yeah, he like stands up and he's like walking around.
shit, that's terrifying. Oh
Imagine if we had
gosh.
like hard mode Inferno. I mean, they've been talking about it for a while, but maybe they'll get ideas from that now. Like maybe Zuck stands up after you kill Zuck, and
Yeah.
he has some crazy other mechanics or something. Because people always talk about like two Zucks that you fight at the same time or something like that, and but maybe him standing up and fighting one on one is could be a hard mode thing or something.
That would actually be really cool. It's like you have to complete the Inferno, and then like when Zook dies, it looks like he's falling back into the lava. He like jumps out, and you have to have your melee gear or whatever ready to go.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's like really exciting though. I think Zook is one of the most badass looking bosses. So,
definitely.
yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do with it. So does RS3? And I know I'm just asking about RS3 stuff. You probably don't know, as you know more than me, but you're not an expert with everything. But do you think they look at the Inferno and OSRS and be like, that's like the gold standard, or do they already have their gold standards of like, I just don't know any bosses in RS3. That's the thing. So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really keep up to date with it because it's like I don't really play it that much. I mean, I quit OSRS for like 3 months earlier this year to play RS3, but I was just mainly getting like 120 skills and doing random stuff. But um, I don't really know like what you'd compare it to or anything, or what the standard is going to be for that because um, I mean, obviously, like RS3 players probably see um, Inferno and they're like, that looks pretty cool for old school, but obviously the mechanics would probably be too easy over there.
yeah.
So,
So I want to hear what got you into streaming initially, and how was
um,
that journey?
yeah, I don't know. That was it's kind of a weird story because I have like a friend in real life that he's been streaming for quite a while. Like he was streaming for a couple years before me, and he plays like FPS games and stuff. But he was kind of like an inspiration because just seeing him stream and it looked like fun. And then all the people that I've raided with back then, everyone knew that I was high KC and no one was close to my KC. And they're like, "Oh, you should stream. People will watch this." So I tried it out, and I mean, I was kind of already like, even though I wasn't a streamer, I was already kind of in the spotlight back then because everyone was like, "Oh, Lucid Dream, highest KC, this and that," and um, so was already like had an audience, I guess.
Yeah.
So it actually wasn't like too rough. I remember my first week, I didn't even use mic. Like I had a mic, but I was like too scared to use it. So I was
Yeah.
just sitting there. Like when people typed in the chat, I'd like type in game and say like, "Oh, thank you for your like follow," or I type in game and be like respond to their questions and stuff. It
Yeah.
was probably the most scuffed like streams ever. I remember I think my second day I got hosted by Curtis for like 900 viewers or something, and
Wow.
those people, like that was back when I wasn't using mic or anything, and those people were like, "What's this guy doing?" Like he's just sitting there typing in chat and like not even using mic.
Yeah. What's crazy is I it's whatever, like, you can do whatever you want, whatever works, but Iron Queen literally got partnered on Twitch through that exact thing of just pretty much responding to people through text in the chat. And
Yeah, I mean,
that's insane to me. I don't know. It's just like,
yeah.
because the vibe is so much different than having a face cam or even just having a mic alone.
I mean, there's definitely gonna be different audiences for different, types of streams. I mean, there's people who still don't use cam, which is fine.
Yeah.
Even really big streamers to get thousands of viewers, some of them don't have never used cam before just because they're not comfortable, or like VTubers, for example. So,
Yeah.
uh, I guess as long as you're like solid on the content creation side or entertaining or whatever, people will watch.
So what finally got you to use mic and eventually cam, I'm assuming, was the progression?
Well, I mean, the mics thing, it wasn't ever going to be like, "Oh, I'm never going to use mic." I was just, testing out the waters,
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
seeing what it was like. And then, I found streaming to be fun. I like the only reason why I even still stream nowadays, because I don't have to stream, is just to like talk to people. It's really fun to, get people in the chat, like typing and asking questions or saying, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, Cam, I had one of my viewers and someone that I raided with for Christmas one year. He bought me like an actual mic and a webcam. So
And you're like, God
I
damn it, now I have to
yeah,
turn it
so
on.
yeah, originally it was supposed to be just the mic, and then I opened up the package and there's like 5 pounds of candy and like a webcam, and I'm like, damn, he's trying to like get me fat and have me go on cam and stuff. Like, uh, but yeah, I don't know. Um, I mean, it's still pretty scuffed with the cam. Besides, I mean, I still don't have like crazy lighting, but
Yeah.
it was kind of a surprise because then I'm like kind of guilt tripped into using the cam because
Oh yeah.
it's like, do I want to just have him waste his money on this, like getting this webcam?
And you
And
can't lie and be like, I don't have a webcam, you know? Like, oh, that's
yeah,
awful.
yeah, pretty much.
So
So yeah,
I always wonder like what it's like to be in that position because I mean I started streaming to nobody with a face cam. And so the progression was just always there. Like I just streamed with a face cam. Did I want to? I don't think anybody like wants to stream with a face cam unless you're like a model and you love to show off your looks.
yeah,
But I feel like the majority of people would prefer to just be in their
oh
underwear and
yeah,
just game, you know?
yeah, definitely. I mean, sometimes if like straight up, if I don't have cam on, sometimes I'm just sitting in a robe while like
Yeah.
raiding. Like, I mean, obviously I'm not like full like butt naked or anything, but I'm like chilling, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think that you like you said, you know, if people have the option to not use cam, I mean, sometimes if I'm not feeling it, I'll just stream without cam. I just chill, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hard to get into streaming originally because you know you only have like you said you're streaming to no one. You have to like how do you bring someone into your stream,
Yeah.
whether it be like you being good at the game or entertaining. You know, it's hard to start streaming, especially if you don't have like an audience already. Like
Yeah.
luckily me, I instantly I had quite a bit of viewers right away. I never had like even my first stream I had like probably over 100 viewers or something just because
Oh wow.
I was already kind of known.
Yeah.
So I never really had to start from, you know, zero, which you know, I have a lot of respect for the people who do that because that's rough, you know, sitting there talking to yourself, trying
Yep.
to, you know, crack jokes or talk to no one pretty much. It's, yeah.
Yeah. I don't even think I could do it at this point just because of uh I don't know. Like starting off with zero, that's the only thing you know. If I had known what talking to 100 people is like over, you know, zero, that I don't respect to all the streamers that start because yeah, I don't think I could do it now with what
Oh,
I
yeah.
know. It's
I
just
mean,
painful.
nowadays I don't really like have many viewers probably because I'm so inconsistent and stuff, but, um, I'm usually just chilling anyways, so I just throw it on just
Yeah.
so you know older viewers can come in and you know say what's up or whatnot. But um, I mean, it's definitely more like it's more motivating the more viewers you have because then it's like I'm not really social in real life, but on stream, like people ask questions or ask anything or you know talk, I can talk about any topic really, like food or PVM or you know, uh, real life stuff, pretty
Yeah.
much anything. Like I can just talk about stuff. So
No,
it's definitely
absolutely.
more fun when you have a lot of viewers.
Yeah. I think the difference is like zero. Like, because first 3 months, I mean, there would be times where I'm just at zero. The one person in my stream just like, oh, got to go to work or something. I'm like, shit,
Oh
back to
yeah.
zero. Like, shit.
What got you into streaming then?
I got into streaming because, I mean, it's weird because, I mean, you say you had an audience already. I thought I was a pretty good Iron Man at the time, and I was involved in my clan, and I was involved on Twitch. So I almost just kind of thought, you know, organically people would just come because they'll recognize my name. But obviously wasn't that big because, or well known at all. I thought I was relatively. But the thing that kind of got me into it was just, I don't know, I saw streamers and I was like, that looks amazing to just play the game you absolutely love. Like, I'd go to work. I worked at a Target distribution center, and the whole entire time I'm just thinking of playing RuneScape. Like, I don't want to work there. I don't want to work there, you know? Like, the whole time just lifting boxes, I'm just like, I just want to go home and play RuneScape. And so
Yeah.
being able to do that was my dream, just to play RuneScape and talk about it. And I saw a lot of people on Twitch that made that dream work. You know, is it the most extravagant life you can live? No, but it's definitely what I wanted to pursue. So I just sent it. I had some money saved up, and I,
Yeah.
you know, just tried
I
it
mean,
out. It was
as
rough
long as
though.
it's something that you're enjoying, you know, it's definitely better than, you know, working at like a shitty job or something that you're just like, you're thinking about rune. I mean, I still think about RuneScape when I'm working, but like I like my job a lot, and
Yeah.
I don't see myself ever really like coming back to full-time streaming or content creation. I mean, would it be like a dream? Yeah, but I'm at the spot right now where I'm just comfortable, and
Yeah. And
I
there's
don't I don't want to make that jump yet if I don't know.
yeah, and there's so much security in like a real job
Oh yeah.
rather than just going month to month, like not really knowing what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
that's kind of what was going on. Like even at my peak, I mean, every streamer knows how like inconsistent it can be, like you
yeah,
said, month to month. Like one month you can get double what you had the month before, or vice versa.
yep,
And like it's definitely I mean, I think it's mainly like looking at it as streaming and stuff and doing content creation for fun rather than uh as a job, at least in my eyes. That's what keeps me going. I'll just do it for fun nowadays.
yeah. So you got 10,000 raids, KC, on your I want to say it was your previous account, correct?
Yeah, my account Lucid Dream,
Yeah.
or well, it's my alt now. After I got hacked,
S-
so
So
uh,
what inspired you to even do all those raids? What inspired you to be rank 1, I guess, in
yeah,
KC?
it's pretty crazy because obviously everyone, PVMs and this and that, and you do it for fun. And I feel like, I mean, obviously I still find raids fun. Like, I mean, you see me doing like CM speed runs and stuff, and I still enjoy raids. But like back then, I had a friend in real life. He's one of the people who got me into old school when I was playing RS3, and he's like a super addicted staker. He'll PVM for like a couple hours, and then he'll rage and just go stake and lose all his GP and stuff. And he like told me one day, he's like, yeah, the only way you can make 10 bill is staking. And this was back, when raids first came out, 2017. There wasn't really any good GP methods, so that's probably where he was coming from. And then I literally just grinded out raids and had over 10 bill, and I was like, yeah, what's up now? I proved them wrong pretty much. But after a while, it kind of became a meme in like my clan back then that Lucid's 10K raids. One of my friends, Reels, he's in Obliv and stuff still, and he's around, and um, he always, is joking about when I'm gonna hit 10K raids, and I don't know, I just enjoyed raids so much that I just kept on going.
That's insane though. 10,000. So
I
what
hit it. I hit it too. Like I don't know when the exact date. I probably have a tweet somewhere. It was like August 2018 or 2019. Yeah, it was 2019. If I didn't get hacked too, I would have hit 10,000 before Raids 3 or Raids 2 even came out
damn.
at like the speed I was going.
Yeah. That's just nuts. So what was the normal team size you preferred to do?
We kind of messed around with almost anything. 4+1s, 3+1s. I mean, back then 4+1s were like really popular besides solos, at least for the speed aspect of it. Um, but I feel like nowadays no one really does 4+1s, mainly because it's like 2 mil GP per hour or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's mainly those. We did a little bit of 2+2s with DPS alting, 3+4s, 4+3s, all these, miscellaneous scales and stuff as well. But yeah, it was mainly that. Back in the day too, um, my team was like one of the first teams that actually started alting. Obviously, like we weren't alting efficiently as you do nowadays, but
Yeah.
we were kind of like introducing it a little bit, and we realized, oh, you can bring an alt in and get more points, and then still probably do it fast. And even before we started alting, we would pretty much use a main as an alt. Like one of our team, that we'd switch it off like every 10 raids, a different person would prep, and we'd still get fast raids where the main would like prep throughout the raid while we're doing the raid, and then he comes in at home, and pretty much like how you do CM teams nowadays.
Yeah. Interesting. There's just um I also want to just ask, is there just a natural progression that almost inspires speedrunning? Like just getting into raids? Like You know what?
Um,
Well, okay. Here, let me ask you this first. Um, I want you to take me back to day of release of raids. I'm assuming you played day of release.
oh yeah.
So
Do you want to go back, like take a step back a little bit before then as well? Because I can talk like a little bit about like when I started playing old school.
yeah, let's do it.
Like, uh, back when I first started playing, I was still a noob. I mean, even when Raids 1 first came out, I was still a noob. Like, I mean, everyone was pretty much noob back then. But I was like, I remember I hopped on. I like got like a little bit of gear from my friends because I mean we're all kind of poor and stuff. Because it was hard to make GP back then. And I remember I was doing Slayer and I got like an Iron Dragon task. And I told my friend, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a Visage here, and then I'm gonna start doing Corp. And literally like that same task, I got a Visi. That's literally this is what started my old school career pretty much. Is that Visi from Iron Dragons? I think I have
Wow.
it on YouTube still too. And I got
What
the
did it
Visi.
sell
I
for?
saw.
Yeah.
I don't like 18 mil or
Okay.
20 or somewhere around there, and I bought a Zamrakian spear to do corp, and that's pretty much where it started. I was doing like trio corp, 4-man corp, etc. Before raids came out. I remember back then. I don't know if you played, but there wasn't like player-owned house. We didn't have Dragon Warhammer. To get spec back, you'd have to go teleport to the duel arena, stake your friend or duel your friends to get spec
Yeah.
back, and then you tele back to corp, and then etc. And
Sheesh.
that's how you did it back then.
Did you pull any sigils? And what?
Oh yeah, I got like a lot. I have on Lucid. I think I have 3,000 personal KC, but I probably did like 10,000 plus corp back then, and uh, probably had like 5 LEs, like 20 arcanes, like 15 spectrals or something.
God
I have
damn.
most of them on YouTube, but let me see if I can find the like exact amount that I've had. But I know it was pretty high up there, and back then, GP was really hard to get, so like that
Yeah.
was being rich back then.
Oh, I remember seeing a person with an Ellie in 2015. If you had an Ellie, you were a god. It didn't even matter if you had nothing else. Like you were rich as fuck in my eyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and even I just see one right here. Before raids came out, I got a duo Ellie too.
Oh
I
shit.
think they were cheaper back then than they are now. Like especially Arcane. Arcane wasn't really. I think it was like 70 mil or something. Because it wasn't really. You didn't mage anything.
Yeah, I want to. I think like Ellie's were like 650 mils to up to like 750. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
really ever remember them above 800 until raids came out.
Yeah, they were pretty low. I mean, back then, yeah, there wasn't really much options to do. So it was mainly like if you were, I guess, like a good PVM or you were doing like Flicking God Wars Dungeon, like Cloud Badass and Zach or Reed,
Yeah.
and you'd be or you do Corp. Those were like the options that you had back then.
Who who were the goat PVMers back in 2013 on old school up
Oh,
until
I
like
don't even. I was like, so I was still kind of a noob, so I didn't really like, I never really watched videos and I wasn't familiar with like the good PVMers, but I think back then, you had like Cloud Badass, Reed, I think Lake was around still back then. Zulu, was a big name back then. Who else? There was a couple other God Wars Dungeon people. I forgot what their names were. There's that one guy. He died like a year ago or something. I forgot what his name was. He went for a lot of the like KC records where you do like 100 Sarah in one trip back then.
oh
Uh, forgot
yeah.
what his name was. He was pretty big back then. But yeah, there wasn't really like as many names. Obviously, there was like Wooks, Bodie, um, Dead Wilson.
Yeah.
He's big in skilling and stuff too.
Just
Who?
nuts how the PVM content was God Wars basically and
Yeah,
DKs. If you did
yeah.
DKs for a long time, like that was cool, you know.
Yeah, and then Corp, those were like
Oh
the
yeah.
the only options you had back then. I mean, and then they had Zulrah and like a couple other miscellaneous bosses, but there wasn't really many options. And then, fast forward, I think I was only playing for maybe 2 years prior to raids, and then, raids came out and everyone tried to go in, as like 20 plus man raids, and because they
Yeah.
as as they teased it, as like, a big raid. You're gonna have like 50 people in there. Your whole clan's gonna be in there, and it turns out that like half the rooms you couldn't, like the bigger the scale, you couldn't even do the rooms.
Yeah. No, I
I
remember
remember.
day of release, just real quick, just walking into Tecton. I think Tecton was the first room.
Yeah,
And
you
we're
just
just
couldn't even
like,
get past Tecton.
we didn't even know. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like rune crossbowing it because I was such a
Uh,
noob at the time. I just wanted to see if I could pull an item real quick. Yeah,
yeah.
that was misery. That was misery. Nobody knew what they were doing.
Ice Demon was literally impossible. You couldn't do it in bigger teams.
Really?
I think the chest was
God.
like broken too. I don't really remember everything, but because it's been so long. But I think the chest was kind of broken. People were like dropping items, and then the items would disappear because you dropped too much stuff on the same stack. So
Fuck.
people were like losing items, and specifically at Ice Demon too, people would like drop the kindlings, and I remember Vespula, people would just feed with the grubs or the flowers.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I do remember walking into Vespula and having no idea what was happening. Again,
yeah.
just like shit.
I remember back then, like the first quite a while, everyone would at least in teams, like people didn't really do the redemption method for a while, but uh you'd actually like attack Vespula itself until it went down, and then you would attack the portal.
So interesting.
It's crazy because like you'll literally never see that nowadays. It's just like you skip that part completely, and Vespula is like the fastest room or one of the fastest.
Yeah. It just I remember like going over and trying to I still to this day don't know how Vespula actually was intentionally designed. Like
Yeah,
there was like some other mechanics to it where you're like feeding things and
yeah, you grab the flowers, you feed the grubs when it pokes them. Vespula actually like attacks you and you get poisoned. Well, it
yeah,
like
nobody
I don't think
knows.
it actually damages you, but I know it like shoots a thing at you and can poison you. And um, I think back then we would have one person tag the portal just so it doesn't like so Vespula doesn't poke the grubs, and then we'd sit there and attack Vespula for it to go down, and then we would attack the portal.
So interesting.
And then no one knew how to scout back then either. Well, our team actually like so Wooks came out with his scouting guide kind of early on, but our team actually knew about the scout like the room orders and stuff
Hmm.
before he came out with that. Like we figured it out ourselves. And then later on people were complaining, and then they came out with the new rotation. So there's two rotations for raids or regular raids, Cox. And I figured that out like instantly. I just like went in, scouted like three raids, and figured out what the rotation was. But um, I feel like we were like the first to a lot of things during team raids, at least.
How was
And
Ulm stepping into Ulm the first time? Did anyone know what they were
um,
doing?
no, I'm pretty sure we just ran around and just like tanked every single hit, and just like no one skipped any specials or anything, or the melee attack specials. That's
Yeah.
what I call them, and you would just like get portaled all the way across the room because your teammates just sitting there, and uh everyone just gets hit by spikes 24/7 and whatnot.
God,
Yeah.
this is so funny. And the who was who were the first people that pulled an item?
Probably Hekis. Hekis is like Bodhi and Wooks and Zulu and Hugo, Dead Wilson, Starfish, all those that group of people. Good luck, I'm Tom. I think that I don't know who all was in their team, but they had to have been some of the first people that were getting drops. I remember. Oh yeah, so back then, like for some reason, Jagex never wanted to add KCs to release a content. So the first like week or two, there wasn't KCs.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
and I remember I did like 80 to 100 raids or something before the KCs came out. And our team was so pissed because we would like sit there and like watch streams and everyone's pulling loot, and we went like 80 raids dry like the first week, nothing. And we're just like, oh, and then we get dragon throwing axes. And everyone's back then the prayer scrolls were just one prayer scroll. It's just called prayer scroll. And they were like 400, 600 mil. We're just sitting there watching people pull them left and right, and we're not getting anything. It was sad.
was it you going dry or was it just the points were so low that
Probably a little bit of both. I mean, I don't
yeah?
really remember what the points were back then, but I'm pretty sure every team probably had low points compared to now.
And prayer scrolls were a lot rarer, correct? On release.
Oh yeah, because initially it was just the prayer scroll, and you can choose preserve, rigor, or augury, and then they were like looked at the stats, like no one's unlocking preserve, so they made that the Torrent prayer scroll. Uh, and then people were still complaining or something, so they split them into Dex and augury, and they like made them more common by I think 2 times more common. And then people were still complaining, so they made them 2 times common again, I'm pretty sure.
Yeesh.
And then, I mean, still Dex was like quite a lot of GP for a while there, like
Yeah.
200 mil plus.
Crazy.
I think we pulled a couple of like just the OG prayer scroll. I think like 4 of them when they were like 400 mil.
Yeah,
Back
that
then,
was just crazy time.
like the raids were super slow. They're like slower than how fast you do CMs nowadays. Like the
Oh,
raids were
yeah.
like a good raid was like under 25 minutes or something. And
What was the Tebow worth? Like
I think it
near
was
release?
like I don't really remember like closer to release. It was probably around max cash, but not a lot of people had GP back then, so I feel like no one really had the GP to buy like that really expensive item. I didn't get a T-bill until I didn't buy my own until I was pretty far in. I mean, back then I like for some reason cared more about GP than I do now. Like now I'll just buy any item on release because I'm just like I'd rather use the item to
Yeah.
get more of that same item. And pretty sure they were probably like 1.4, 1.5 or something.
That's crazy. Just
Yeah.
I remember watching do you remember Thoboying? I don't actually know how to
Oh
pronounce his
yeah,
name.
Thoboy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thoboy.
he's in Obliv, or I don't know if he still is, but
I just remember watching his videos, and he like got an early T-bow, and he was testing it at places and testing it at Arma and stuff like that. I was like, damn, this bow is like so badass. It's the thing that everybody wanted. I mean, it still pretty much is. That's like the
yeah.
iconic item.
I remember back then too, no one really knew much about DPS calcs and stuff, or well, some people did, but it's not like as widely accepted as nowadays. And like even the J mods, I feel like didn't understand how that stuff worked. And the T-bow was like they had to nerf the T-bow, I think like once or twice, at least one time.
Oh yeah, they like
Uh,
capped it. I
yeah, they
think.
like capped it outside of raids, and then I think they even like kind of lowered its like how good it was inside of raids as well.
Yeah, it's like 350 damage multiplier in raids, correct? And then it's like 250 outside, I think.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
So it
Um,
was uncapped initially, so you could be hitting like 90s and stuff.
yeah, people would like destroy Sarah and like Zulrah and stuff with it.
I will
I
say,
didn't.
sorry, I will say I kind of am against the artificial caps, like where something just caps at 50 damage. Like I don't really like the Zulrah thing.
Oh yeah. I don't know. That's well, it's kind of weird because even though it caps that, you like hit that bigger number, but then it brings it down. So I guess technically you're gonna see a lot more of that higher number, but like, yeah, it is kind of
Yeah.
it's weird.
I would just prefer them to not have those weird arbitrary restrictions where it's just like can't hit higher. I feel like they could nerf it in a different way rather than that. But I understand that he didn't want to completely devalue Zulrah. So
Yeah, I think that it might be kind of weird too because the T like certain items like the T-bow might be balanced around a certain piece of content, but at another piece of content it might like at Zulrah or whatever it might be more OP. So
yeah.
it's kind of hard to tweak certain numbers to get it to like not be overpowered everywhere or whatever.
Do you remember that little preview of the Tebow where they killed Grardor in like 5 hits? I think it was Mod
No.
Ronin. It was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't really watch like many streams and stuff back then, so I didn't really see them.
There was
I
like
just
a,
like
yeah, it was just a little clip. It was before General Grardor got its mage level nerfed to basically, I don't know what it is now, but it was disgusting. A Tebow would 5 hit Grardor. He was just face tanking it. Like, oh my God.
mm. Yeah, I know that. I mean, back then there was quite a bit of problems with, different gear and stuff. And I'm actually kind of curious to see what the game would have looked like if they came out with all of the armors that were initially proposed for Raids 1.
Oh yeah, there
So,
would have been like 20 things on there. Like there was 15 on
yeah,
release, which is already crazy.
yeah, there was gonna be a range set, a melee set, like Elder and Twisted armor. Which I mean, looking at it now, it's a good thing that they didn't come out with that stuff
Yeah.
because, um, yeah, I mean, I think even like the Kodai was, or I think Ancestral is supposed to be called Kodai armor or something, and then they changed it and then lowered its stats or something.
Yeah. I don't fully remember. I was still so newbie back when they were pulling all the raids things.
Oh yeah, same. Um, yeah, going into more of like raids release and stuff, since I guess that's more like what I've been known for and stuff is I remember back then there was like my team versus like Hugo, Dead Wilson, Good Luck I'm Tom. Like we were all like raids release was so fun just because there's so many of us that were like going to be more efficient and trying to get higher KCs and we were all like all four of us were like the highest KCs in the game pretty much and I was still like pretty unknown back then and those guys were like the big dogs back then. So it was like funny. They would see me at raids, and I'd see them, and we would just like chat and see where KCs are at and stuff. And um, eventually, I think like me and Good Luck, I'm Tom. I think he's an Iron Man now, or
Yeah.
it's GL, I'm Tom. Uh, we were like both like head to head, like first person to 1,000 KC, and uh, I would have hit it first, and then Tom's like, "Hey, we should get the 1,000 in the same raid. It'd be pretty cool." So I'm like, "Okay." I was like 2 raids away. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go to sleep," and then I wake up in the morning and he got it without me, and I'm like, "Dude,
Oh my
like
god.
he did me dirty."
Damn,
Yeah.
savage.
Yeah, and then
Oh
I mean
god.
he kind of burnt out after a little while, and when I just kept on, getting really high KCs, everyone was just like, "Damn, how does this guy have 3,000 KC already?"
That's
Um,
fucked.
I remember I got my omelet. It was 5,215 KC on Lucid, and
Jesus.
I mean that was like super dry back then. People were like, "How are you? How's this even possible to go this dry?" And I think the closest person in terms of KC was probably 3,000 KC. Like no one was even close, and I was already that dry, so it's pretty crazy
Yeah, omelet's
looking back at it.
ridiculous. Wasn't there some weird thing where omelet was like
Oh,
really rare initially?
yeah, on the first month they like fucked up and added a zero to it, so it's 1 in 650 instead of 1 in 65.
Oh god. And there were
Yeah.
people that were pulling it, right?
Yeah, I
Still.
think there was one or two omelets in the game before they fixed it. But yeah,
Oh my god.
it was pretty crazy how like rare it was back then.
Yeah, that's
Um,
insane.
and then like like another part a story I guess for like the beginning of raids is I was talking about like Zulu, Tourney, Hugo, all of those guys back then. They were doing like 100-man scales. I think that's probably why I kind of passed in KC is I don't know if you ever watched any of their vids when they were doing the like 100-man raids back then. They would do like 9 people doing a 100-man raid, and they would be in there for like 6 hours almost,
Fuck.
doing the raid. And I think some stuff got patched because I think they were able to like suicide on alts without losing points and just
Oh
like log
yeah.
out or something. But then they fixed that, and then they like took it back later. But yeah, they were doing that, and then I was doing like more faster paced raids, and eventually they were doing speed runs, and that's kind of what got me into it. I probably would have never gotten to speeds unless they invited me to, do speeds one day and go for at the time probably like sub 13. And back then, I think we were doing 8 mans. We thought that I guess we didn't actually look at the calcs too well, because we saw 8 man is the same HP as 7 man, but with the extra phase. But what we weren't factoring is the intermission between the phases.
Yeah.
So we like lost some time there, and then fast forward now 7 man's the best scale for speeds. But uh, let me see if I can pull up a video. Like the setups back then were so scuffed. It was like doing speeds. I remember we got so excited when we got the first I think like sub 12 in the game, and like I think it was Turney that was our crosser. He one of the raids he forgot to drop the what's the tightrope crystal called?
The Keystone. Is that what it's
Yeah, the
called?
keystone.
Yeah.
He forgot to drop it to telegrab. Um, and we
Uh,
lost like 5 seconds or something. It was, I think that, yeah, it was a 12:01 raid, and we were like, no, that would have been it. They had
yeah.
these setups right here. Let me see if I can. Here, I'll send you a
Yeah.
screenshot of this. This is like such a baloney setup. I mean, it's kind of similar to now, but I mean, we have better items now. So, but this is like for the 12:01. This is like the kind of setup that we were using back then.
Let me see it.
I don't even know why going in with like an empty inventory space, but like could have had like an angler or something for that. Wait, I don't even
When did
remember if
Anglers come
anglers.
out? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to say I don't even think angler. Maybe that's why. No, wait, I am 121 in the picture, so huh? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know,
That's
but yeah,
Dragon
it's
Warhammer. I just remember was like 60 some mil or maybe 70 mil, and it spiked up to like 90 for a little time. 'Cause
yeah.
everybody was like, okay, this is the item everybody wants.
One of these older setups. Let me see if I can find one of the older raids, like 12. Oh yeah, here's a 1232. Uh, I used to play like Casey. He used to actually make fun of me back then because I would play full screen resizable, and he'd call it astronaut raids. Because like here, look how far I'm zoomed out in this. I'm just like full screen resizable so bad.
Give me a sec.
It looks so funny. In that setup too, it's so baloney. We're bringing Sears Ring into the raid. Like that doesn't even make any sense. It's so bad. But
Dude,
that was like the peak of speedrunning back then. It's so funny.
everyone's just running around with fire
Yeah.
caves. Oh yeah, Inferno wasn't even out at that time
Yeah,
either.
yeah, that was probably prior, or it definitely was prior to then. But I
Oh,
mean, I
this.
didn't.
Yeah,
Another
no,
thing,
this
I
is
was
when.
like I
Oh
was
yeah,
like
go ahead.
6,000 KC before I got my Infernal cape. Like Inferno was out for a couple of months before I got mine, and yeah, back then it was just fire cape. And like even probably watching the videos, you probably see like a million ticks lost, like the most baloney things ever. And
I mean, you
yeah,
probably notice it a lot more since you are a dedicated chamber a speedrunner.
yeah,
But like most people are like, "Oh, this is like gaming right now," even 4 years later.
oh
Um,
yeah,
so you know what I miss is I miss when people had hostas and whips for Ulm, not
yeah.
some dedicated like dragon destroyer. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well,
I,
I mean, I use Scythe, so,
oh
but I
yeah,
guess
that's true. That's true.
in solos, yeah, you still use Lance a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the Lance kind of fills in like that niche gap a little bit. Um, I'm not really opposed to it. I mean, I like it for Vorkath, that's for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, we have Dragon Hunter crossbow as well. That was like the first of its kind for like a dragon weapon.
Yeah, that was like okay. So when the Dragon Hunter crossbow first came out, it was weak though. It was just like barely better than an ACB
Oh
against
yeah, it
dragons.
was. I think they. I forgot about that. They had to buff it because it was so bad. Um,
They didn't. Well, they didn't buff it because it was so bad. They buffed it because of how disgusting a blowpipe was. Like the blowpipe is the thing that
oh
caused all of this. Because I mean, crossbows have always just been way worse than any faster attacking weapon. But
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the Dragon Hunter crossbow was intentionally this thing that you're gonna go camp wyverns with, or brutal black dragons. Just and then
True.
it ended up Vorkath came out. Vorkath was the thing where everyone started crying about it. I miss the good old days where you just bring in a hosta for everything. Just a weak weapon. I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of funny watching everyone using Host on like the Vasa crystal and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh,
And like I I really like how the Zamorakian hosta looks. I think that's like a very iconic looking weapon, and it just looks really medieval. The lance and stuff, everything starts looking really funky, and I don't know, not as I don't know. Maybe it's just a nostalgia factor that I.
I mean, it definitely is. Like it has like that more old school vibe to it. I mean, I guess back then, but nowadays, like we're not even really in like an old school era anymore. I
That's
feel.
true.
So I feel like it's a little different. But, I mean, pre raids, the spear. That was like the item that everyone's like, I need this to do corp and stuff like that. Nowadays, you're like, okay, I need a Tivo or I need a scythe or a saying or, ancestral and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, I want to hear about Inferno release. So, Chambers was out for about 6 months, and then Inferno came out. When did Inferno? At what point did the Inferno become almost? I don't know. Like, you pretty much need to get it, or you're a noob. Because for a long time, people just stuck with their fire capes because Infernal capes were for the absolute champion, like the absolute beasts of the game. Like nobody else really went for it.
I think back then too, people were like, "Oh, it's not even worth getting an Infernal cape." Is like how many attempts it would take. There wasn't really that much information. Like you would spend like 100 hours, or well, not 100, but well, I guess probably actually maybe over 100, depending on how many attempts. And people are like, "Oh, it's not worth it," this and that. And I remember for a while there, there was only like less than 20 people that had it probably for the first couple of weeks or month. There wasn't really many people. I mean, even me myself, I wasn't really interested in getting it.
Nobody was. I was terrified of that place. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was still like, I didn't get it for a while. I think back then too. So I was like, probably around 6,000 or so KC, and people would come into my stream and be like, "How are you supposed to be a really good raider?" And they were like trolling me and talking shit and stuff, and saying how I don't have Infernal capes. I just like one day I was like, okay, I'll just go get it just to make people stop trolling.
Yeah.
But then like looking back at it now, I got trolled even more because I don't know if you heard about my Zuck history.
No, tell.
My first Infernal cape. So like my first attempt at Zuck, I actually almost got the cape on the first Zuck. I tanked so many Zuck hits that I died to healers. Like I'd never actually, I don't think I've ever actually died from a Zuck hit itself still.
Wow.
And so I tanked like 3 or 4 hits and then I died to healers because I was so low that like I ran out of brews. So I never actually died to Zuck itself. And then my second Zuck I think I tanked 6 hits for a combined damage of like 35. And then I got the cape.
Dude, it reminds me. I don't know if you ever watched A Lesson.
Oh yeah, he was one of those names back then that was like a familiar face back then.
Yeah, he went when he was going for his Infernal cape. And he was already a raid god at that time when he was trying to get his cape. He just wanted to get a T-bow or something before. He was using a Dragon Hunter crossbow as his main weapon against Zuck. But there's a clip of him at 3 HP, and he goes beyond the shield, and Zuck just splashes on him. And he gets the cape. I'm like, dude, you're 3 HP. Like,
yeah,
Jesus.
Even my current Infernal cape that I have ran on my second one, I tanked 3 Zuck hits and the Jad hit during Zuck.
God damn.
And yeah, same story kind of. But I got so pissed because Zuck was like, Jad or. So I killed Jad. I think I killed healer. Zuck was like 300 HP, and then I tanked 3 hits between 300 HP and 0. So I was like, I almost needed to prove that I'm not gonna tank any Zuck hits just to like not get trolled, and then I end up like tanking Zuck hits again.
Oh, it's so funny. I was really unlucky with Zuck hits. I was like, I think to this day I've only ever tanked 1 Zuck hit where I didn't die, but I've probably died from Zuck over like 100 HP like 9 or 10 times. I just always get unlucky.
I mean, I think that's almost how it should be. I feel like Inferno, that should be one of the things where like if you get hit by that, you're dead no matter, like you're 100% dead.
I still like that there is a chance of you living, and I think it's totally fair. You just got fucking lucky as hell.
Yeah, people were so pissed. Like my whole chat was just filled with question marks, and like I think even like Lake was watching, and he was like, "Drop it right now." Like, it was funny.
Oh god, dude, Lake's a legend.
Yeah.
What did Lake? Okay, so all I know from Lake, because I used to watch him way back then, and I was watching his no pillar Inferno. Was the no pillar Inferno the thing that really made him blow up, or were there things prior to that?
I think like I said, I think he was even around before raids, like the God Wars dungeon days, like flicking God Wars dungeon. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know for sure Cloud Badass and Reed were like the two crazy like flickers back then.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Lake was still kind of like decently big back then. But yeah, I mean, especially Inferno, that kind of like made him stand out a lot once he did that, and you know his raids, his solo raids and stuff that he's done.
It's crazy. Just so much talent. Yeah, watching people solo raid. I remember watching Hauke just popped into a stream back when I was a noob, and he's doing the little. I think he was just doing the step back at Tecton. It wasn't even like the walk around. It was just the step back,
yeah.
and it was just like, how do you know what you're doing? Like, how are you doing this? And everything
remember,
you do, just
when we would do that with Whip, since you know obviously it doesn't really work with Scythe. With Whip, like you just felt like a god when you just like step back and then step back in and then step back and then step in and like
losing 2 ticks every hit. Yeah. Or wait, are you saying for teams or for solos?
oh
I guess
no, for teams.
Okay, yeah, and teams,
For
I
teams
guess you could
back
just
then,
keep
yeah.
it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know. And then everyone, you know, started doing like stepping around and running around.
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
remember I don't know who was the first person who started doing the Redemption Vesp in solos at least, but uh after seeing that, you know, people were like, "Oh, maybe we should test it out in teams," but then everyone was like, "Nah, it's probably, you know, not worth it. You're gonna use too many restores because I think in Team Vesp it can take a little longer sometimes. Well, not in CMs, but in regular. Back then, you know, it would take a little while, probably because we were missing like 50 ticks. But um, eventually, you know, we tried it out, and then everyone's like, "Why would you ever do Vesp the regular way?" Or I guess Redemption Vesp is the regular way nowadays.
Yeah. Crazy. So why I still am looking at this video that you linked. It's just funny how everyone used Void. Was Void actually best in slot, or
Oh,
was it
that Oh, I forgot.
because I
That's
know there wasn't
probably
ferocious gloves?
they nerfed Void. Like a while ago. Oh, well, probably like a little bit after raids came out, they
Oh
nerfed
yeah,
Void.
for range
But
Void,
back
right?
then, yeah, back then I'm pretty sure that was pre-nerf. So it was like way better. I mean, even nowadays, Void's actually better in like quite a bit of rotations, um, in regular raids.
Well, for
Like
ranged, it just like you don't even have
yeah.
melee gear.
Oh yeah, back then I think it was just yeah, you use melee void. But I think melee void was actually got nerfed as well. I forgot. I'm pretty sure it got nerfed as well.
It might have. I know there wasn't ferocious gloves at this time either,
Yeah.
or helm of. Well, I guess there was a Serp helm, which was pretty big, but yeah,
Yeah,
crazy
that
times. I don't know.
they changed quite a bit of stuff. Yeah, it was back then, you know, they never really I don't think they ever really looked into the calcs too much to see how OP things were. So, you know, they had to nerf Void, they nerfed T-Bow, you know, they made changes to some other stuff, so and then for some reason they still didn't make any like they realized the stuff was OP and then like, okay, blowpipe's not OP. It's like, dude, I don't know how they what made them finally realize, you know, blowpipe's OP and back then they were just nerfing other things, but then blowpipe's just like, yeah, that's fine. It comes from Zulrah, it's good.
Yeah, crazy. What? Okay, so you mentioned people would troll you for not having an Infernal cape. When did that start happening of this uh
Like
Inferno cape elitism? Because I know it didn't happen right
um
on release. When do you think was the time when it finally started?
I wonder if I can look back to see like some time periods on some of these videos that I have that to see when I got my Infernal cape, but so Inferno came like July. So Raids was January. Inferno was I think July 7th or
It was
something like
June.
that,
It was like
or
June.
June.
Yeah, early
Yeah,
June sometime.
yeah. Uh, so I think probably like August, like a couple months probably, maybe like 2 or 3 months. Um, I mean, I don't think I was anywhere near like you know the like some of the first people that got it. I was
You were getting
probably like
trolled 3 months in already. Like
yeah,
nobody had an
probably.
Infernal cape even
Well,
6 months after. I felt like.
I mean, people had them, but they were like, you know, the good PvMers. And back then, you know, I was considered like, you know, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm cocky, but I feel like back then most people did consider me as like one of the better people because I was doing speedrunning.
Yeah.
And there wasn't back then. There wasn't really as many names as there is nowadays. Nowadays, there's so many good PVMers. Like I'm not even close to like the top PVMer nowadays. So I think there were back then. You know, there wasn't really as many names, and people would come into the chat and be like, "Hey, why don't you have Infernal Cape?" And they're like, "Oh, how can you have this high rates KC or do rates this fast but no Infernal Cape and this and that?" And
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of why. Like maybe if I was just like a casual PVMer, I probably would, you know, people wouldn't have that elitism. And back then too, it was probably all people who didn't even have Infernal Cape themselves.
Yeah,
Like,
it always is.
yeah, it always is. Like the people who troll are the people who are like the worst usually. So
Yeah.
they're just trying to get like a reaction out of you or whatever.
No, seriously, like if nobody that has an Infernal Cape really
Cares.
gives a shit. Yeah, if nobody.
Yeah.
No, it is funny how that works.
It's funny too because like after I got mine, like most of my team got it, or actually, and that's another thing. I was one of the only people on my team that didn't have one. Like most of my like core teammates had them, and going back to like one of my friend's reels, he even after TOB came out, I'm pretty sure he still didn't get Infernal Cape, and people would come into my stream and just like flame him so much because he was the only person that didn't have one, and it broke him to the point where he literally got it just to like,
Shut
I mean,
them
same
up.
as me pretty much, yeah, to like shut him up. And even he's a pretty big, or I wouldn't say he's like super big because he doesn't make like content, but he's like a really good Cox raider now, and I take him along, and he didn't have Infernal Cape, and same thing. Everyone would just bully him and
Yeah.
be like, "Who's that guy without Infernal Cape?" They're like, "Why are you raiding with someone without Infernal Cape?" Like, I don't care. Like, they're my friends or whatever. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just yeah.
Okay, so Theater of Blood came out afterward. What about a year and a half after Chambers?
Oh
So
yeah. So,
let's hear
stepping
it.
back a little bit before then, I don't know if you knew, I got invited to test TOB with the content creators.
Oh wow.
So I actually flew out to Jagex for a week with all the content creators to test TOB, and I made a tweet like a year ago too, and it was actually pretty embarrassing. So there's like 12 of us in this room at Jagex. It was 3 teams of 4. I think one team it was me, Lake, Wooks, and Nublet. He was an RS3 person at the time. And then another team I think was Zulu, Reed, Cloud, and I think Mammal. And then another team was like Bodhi, Dalek. Who else was there? I wonder if I can find a list. There's a couple other people. Let me see. So that yeah, it was 3 teams of 4, and I was on Wooks' team, of course. Oh yeah, there's Dead Wilson, and Curtis or
Okay.
MMO, or and it was I was on Wooks' team, and we walk into Maiden, and of course I'm the first person to die out of everyone, and I'm on Wooks' team.
Oh no.
And like I made a tweet, and I'm like, if you think you're bad, just remember the time where I had the most embarrassing moment where I'm paired up with Wooks and I die first.
God.
Like, I think I was like praying melee against Maiden, and I'm just AFKing in blood, and I just die. And like
So
back
bad.
then, blood spawns didn't even exist when we were testing. Maiden just like shot out blood, and that was it. So I'm literally just AFKing in blood, and it's not even a blood spawn; it's just blood. And I'm just like, dude, it was so bad.
See, I'm really dumb when it comes to new content that I'm completely unfamiliar with. I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah,
Like, there's
I
people
mean,
like Wooks that start solving everything on release. I'm so dumb when it comes to. I need to see like a guide or something before I ever.
yeah, I'm not usually like, I'm usually trying to pay attention not to die on new content rather than like solving mechanics right away. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely like, but like then at least too, you're on a computer, like you don't have your mouse, you don't have your keyboard, you don't like. I didn't even set my F keys, so I think that's
Oh,
when I
true.
think that's probably why I was playing melee. I don't even remember why I was, but like
Everything's so
I didn't
different.
set my F keys, I didn't set my quick prayers, like I didn't. Yeah, there's so much stuff that like that kind of set like sets you up for failure when you're not at your own setup.
That's true.
So it was pretty much doomed. But yeah, I remember Maiden. I think I don't remember if the red spiders kept spawning, or I don't think they spawn, or maybe they did spawn at 70, 50, 30 still. But yeah, there wasn't any blood spawns. I think that was one of the main differences at Maiden compared to now. And for everyone that wants to hate on the person who introduced blood spawns, I'm pretty sure Bodhi was the person. He when we were there asking feedback, he's like, "Yeah, I think it's kind of when you need to make it more challenging, so you have to step in certain spots at Maiden." And they're like, "Okay, well, here's blood spawns," and
God
it's like
damn it,
peace.
Bodhi.
Well, I mean, it's not like he wanted specifically blood spawns, but
Yeah.
where he's coming from is, if it's just blood splats, then you don't really have to like be strategic with where you're stepping and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit of difference there, and it was kind of, I don't know, I think they should have invited us a little later, because they invited the content creators, and then like a couple weeks later they invited local people to do like the testing of the stuff that we asked to be put in.
Oh, I see.
So it was more like fleshed out and finished then. Like during testing, I almost felt like, why am I here? Because raids TOB was literally like the worst piece of content you could ever think of. It was so easy. There was like no mechanics really. It was super boring. But that's probably why they brought us in, to try and like get
Better
some of the
insight.
like the bigger PvMers back then, trying to flesh stuff out and make things better. But they were still developing bloat rooms, so we didn't even get to test that. So I think they should have flew us out like when everything's completed,
Yeah.
So it's kind of unfortunate that bloat wasn't completed. Nilo was like 7 minutes long. All it was small Nilos. There was no bigs. There was no boss. And like
That's
you know
so
how there's the
boring.
percent, yeah, that there's the percentage bar.
Yeah.
We thought that when it goes to 0, then like you're done with the room, but like that means that you're dead. So it's like we're like, okay, we're almost done. Like there's no indication on like when the room ends, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's just like
Oh my God.
it goes to 0 and we all wipe and we're just like, what? But then after feedback, they added in the big Nilos. They added in the boss. I think
Yeah.
I think that's the only changes for that. Sodaseg, he spawned like in the middle of the maze at the beginning, and after you kill the first phase, then he spawns at the end of the maze. And I think it was just mage orbs back then. I think there might have been range orbs, but they might have still hit mage damage instead of range.
Mm.
So it was like pretty chilling. Like you just sat there, and I think for the maze we just like screenshotted the maze and just like walked through like that. But yeah, they changed. They made Sodaseg spawn at the end, at the beginning. I don't think he meleeed either back then, so there was some change. Oh yeah, there was no tornado on the maze.
Oh,
So
so
we were like, you can literally take as much time as you want. Like this needs to be time gated. Like you need to be fast on this. So then they put in the tornadoes.
interesting.
And then the chest. I don't know if you remember the chest at the beginning.
You couldn't choose what you wanted.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you just get like random pots. And back then you would get range pots, you'd get super combats, you'd get magic pots, and then I was like, you probably shouldn't be giving this stuff out, because people are going to do the stam farming that they were doing, but for like super combats and range pots. So they removed some of those rewards. But yeah, back then I remember, yeah, the chest was
It
pretty
sucked for
interesting.
irons initially.
Yeah, it was so bad. You like, if you get unlucky, you're just screwed.
So funny.
Um,
And then I remember Verzik was like, everyone had to bring in like 10 brews and shit. Like nobody knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Then after Sodaseg, during testing, there was Zarpus. There was no Screech phase. You just do P1, which was extra long. It was
Yeah,
even longer
God.
than what it was on release. And then after
Really?
release, it
Ugh.
took them like a couple months or a year to make it even faster. And then you just kill the boss, and then there is no Screech phase. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of like,
Was there poison throughout the entire time then? being thrown at you?
Yeah.
Damn,
But
that
I
would have
don't
been
think
really
it,
tough then.
well, I don't think there was as much HP. I don't really remember too
Okay.
much. It's hard to remember all this stuff. We were able to record what we were doing, but we just couldn't release it until after TOB came out.
Mm.
I remember I recorded, but I forgot to email myself the files and whatnot. So they were just stuck on the Jagex computers.
Mm.
Wooks actually did. So he actually when I said that I died in Wooks's team, he actually went back to his videos and saw and took a screenshot. So it just sucks because that's like my one moment to shine, and then now Wooks
Yeah.
just thinks I'm a permanent noob forever.
God.
So it's like peace. I think Mammal actually released some videos of TOB testing as well.
Yeah, I had him on the cast. He was kind of talking about his fly out to Jagex as well with this.
Yeah, it was a really fun experience. I mean,
Yeah, that's sick to be
there
invited
were
to go out there. Like,
yeah, it was random because one morning I like got up and then like before I started the stream I watched Curtis and then he's like should I leak the list? And then the stream's like, yeah, go on, do it. And then he says my name and I'm like, wait, what? And then back then I didn't use Twitter as much as I did now, and I hop on Twitter and I have a DM from Archie saying like, hey, you got invited to TOB testing, blah blah blah, and we had a group chat and I was like, damn, like that's crazy. And then they had the live stream that they announced, all the people that flew out there. And I think me, Lake, Zulu, and Reed got there a day before everyone else. So we got to like walk around Cambridge or whatever it's called.
yeah,
And we got to hang out and stuff. It was pretty cool.
that's sick.
They
Oh,
brought
that's so
us
cool.
like this hotel we were at was really nice. They brought us to like some pretty fancy restaurants. We went to a restaurant called Marco Perry White, and that one, I'm pretty sure Marco Perry White, he was the person who taught Gordon Ramsay how to be a chef. Let me
Wow.
actually Google him real quick. So it's his restaurant, and let's see. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that was his like mentor, but that restaurant was like crazy. We had to, before we even got flown out to Jagex, like couple weeks or a month before, they had to like reserve the tables. They had to reserve the food. Like you had to pick your entree, your appetizer, and your dessert and stuff before we even like went to the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a 5 diamond restaurant pretty much. That was just like 3 sets of silverware, like wine glasses, this and that. Is pretty cool. Like
God damn.
Jagex definitely like treats the content creators right. I mean, I know I talk a lot of shit about them nowadays, so I probably won't ever get invited out there again. But like, I mean, it was definitely like very welcoming. Everyone was friendly. The Jagex facility or the HQ was super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little off topic. Going
No,
back to TOB.
here, one sec. Like, I just remember I was talking to Foe as well. He went out to the Dead Man Mansions. Like, God, like, that's like, you're treating your content creators like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, they've done a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously with COVID, hasn't really been as they can't fly everyone out. A couple months after TOB testing, Archie actually messaged me again to get flown out to RuneFest, but I think I had like a conflict of timing, so I couldn't go.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, they were always really nice. Before Wolf quit, he was like messaging a lot of content creators about getting like flown out again, so I got put on the list, but COVID hit, so it's like no one's getting flown out then at that point. So
Wow.
but yeah, with the mansions, I mean, all of the like anytime they like send people out there, even if you're like a local, they definitely like treat everyone really good. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just nice to like talk to the JMods face to face and stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Everyone's sitting there fanboying Ash and stuff.
Even to
but
be
yeah,
in the presence of Wooks, like, Wooks is
yeah,
on your
yeah.
team? God
I
damn.
think Wooks, he had work, so he was there like pretty short. Like he was only there
Oh,
for a
okay.
day or two. But yeah, he walked in and everyone's just like, "Holy shit, it's Wooks!" Like, and then Wooks comes up to me before the testing and he's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Damn, that
God,
sucks."
I want to go to RuneFest, man. I want to just experience that. It's so sick.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Theater Blood. You were gonna say?
Yeah. So I was talking about all the other rooms, and then you get to Verzik. day one we couldn't even test Verzik. The Dawnbringer was broken and P1 was invincible. So it's like I don't know. It's kind of unfortunate that like they didn't iron out some of the stuff before we came because it almost felt like we had wasted time.
Yeah.
Because we get there, we couldn't even test P1. We were all on like Jmod accounts, so we had to use the like the potato or the egg or
Yeah.
whatever. And I kept on using like the one hit thing, so I just one hit P1 just to get past P1. And put on like invincibility just so I can get through P1. And then P2, I think the lightning thing was like it didn't actually hit you for the 50 damage or whatever if you got hit. You just kind of ignore that. The like I think at the red Nilos that pop out, pretty sure they would just like walk away and go towards like the walls. Like they would just walk away from you. So you're like sitting there chasing them down. So like the electricity ball or the lightning ball would like
Guarantee
destroy.
hit.
They would destroy you nowadays, but back then it didn't hit you. So it was like kind of like there wasn't really. I don't know. Maybe it's because everything wasn't completed, but it didn't really feel that like challenging, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you did have invincibility, but
Well,
I'm
no,
kidding.
that was just for
P1,
P1,
yeah.
but yeah. And then P3 didn't exist. They were keeping that quiet though,
Okay.
because they didn't
They
want
wanted to
everyone
make it
like
seem like the raid was over almost. That's funny.
yeah. So we didn't even have a P3. I think it just didn't exist back then, and they added it in. Um,
That's
but
cool
yeah,
though. I think that's a good thing to do. Keep
yeah,
it
because
secret.
then everyone's kind of out of the loop. Like even though you tested it, you don't know all of the mechanics.
Yeah.
And then looking back at it now, every single room they added on extra mechanics to what like there was like 2 or 3 mechanics extra compared to what we had when we were testing. So it's not like we could just straight stream and then like know everything right away. I mean, we were still struggling on release. Like they had their stream where they were talking about TOB and the content creators that got invited, and it's 12 of us, and it's actually pretty cool because there was RS3 testers there testing RS3 stuff as well, like Elite Dungeons, I think is what it was called. So it's cool meeting like some of those bigger names over there. And it was very like welcoming experience and stuff. And during their stream where they announced who got invited, I kind of got like my 15 seconds of fame or whatever they call it, because they like put on the list, and then the J mods, like some of them didn't know who got invited, and they're like, "Whoa, it's these people, this and that," and then Mod Ash casually says, "Oh, Lucid Dream, we named the music track after him." So
Wow.
I don't know if you know that music track in Dragon Slayer 2, where you fight Robert the Strong. There's Lucid Dream and then Lucid Nightmare are the 2 songs. Um,
That's
so
sick. I didn't even
yeah,
know that was
those
a thing.
yeah they're pretty decent soundtracks. I mean, I don't listen to like the
Yeah.
soundtracks on
Nobody
RS,
does.
but yeah, no one really. I mean, some people do because they're actually like pretty good, but it's pretty cool, because there's other content creators that have gotten like characters named after them or this and that, and so it's pretty cool to, hear about that. I'm like, damn. And it like thinking about it, it almost makes sense because I had the highest Olm KC or Raids KC and Olm's a dragon, so I was like the top Dragon Slayer at the time.
Mm.
And Dragon Slayer 2 didn't come out until after Raids, so it's like it kind of fits. I mean, I don't know if that's the reason why that was like named after me, but
Yeah. That's so cool though.
like not a lot of people even know about that because I don't really like I don't like bragging about it or anything, and who
Yeah.
knows if that's even true. Like what if Ash is just saying that? Like
Yeah.
so but yeah, I don't know. I thought
No,
that
I
was
had no idea. That's really
yeah,
cool.
I thought it was cool.
I need a track called Sae Bae. Let's get that. Let's get just totally random.
Raids 3 or the new quest from there. And then like right after that, I mean I was messaging Archie like one-on-one for a little bit because I didn't have my passport at the time, and I had to get it expedited because they gave us like a 2-month heads up.
Mm.
Because passports kind of usually take like three
Yeah,
to 6 months or something.
yeah.
So I had to like go to like the passport offices and like get it expedited and whatnot. But he like mentioned in the stream, he's like, "Oh, Lucid Dream, he has like the highest like rates KC, so that's like an obvious invitation or something like that. And I'm like, damn, I got the double shout out there.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty
exciting.
cool.
So what are the
And you,
sorry, what are the differences, I guess, fun wise and mechanics wise, like between Chambers of Xeric and Theater of Blood? Like which is better, I guess, in your eyes?
that's like it's such a hard one because I mean I feel like I can't really talk shit about TOB because everyone's gonna be like Nihilo waves, but I mean I think they're both pretty unique in their own ways, and I think they're both fun. Um, I'm not really like into TOB as much nowadays as I used to be. Probably because I'm not like as good at it now, like anymore. But I feel like TOB you almost have to camp it because of like you have to memorize so many things there,
Oh yeah.
especially Nilo waves. Like I haven't done TOB since like hard mode release. It's been like only like 2 months, and I already forgot Nilo waves again. Like I used to. I remember before I stopped doing TOB, I would just I'd know every single wave. Like it's like really rhythmic, and then now I'm just like lost. I don't even remember what the next wave that's coming. And
Yeah, I'm
um,
dog shit at at Nihilo waves. I don't know. I
I mean, it's rough,
Yeah,
or
there's
it
so
can
much
be.
memorization as well, and you got to like actually
Yeah.
study it. I feel like rather than just
Oh
do
yeah.
it a million times.
Like I don't know if you know some of the names from my TOB team, like Rusty and Golpar, and I mean they were like the two names that still do TOB. They're like some of the better TOB, or like I'd probably say the best TOBers in the game still.
Yeah,
Um, and they like they have that shit like in my group chat there's literally like 800-page documents of them just talking about Nilo waves and just like arguing about saving a tick here, like 257 trio this, 255 trio that, this and that, and like
Jesus Christ.
yeah,
No, that's
that's why I'm like
sick
I
though.
can't, that's why I was saying I can't really say anything bad about that because then they're just like going to be in my DMs like, why'd you guys talk shit about Nilo waves? And, like yeah, I mean I think TOB, like some of the rooms are kind of just like chill and AFK. And I
Yeah,
mean, so is like raids one. I think they both have their like good mechanical rooms. Then they also have their rooms that are kind of like the filler rooms.
yeah, for sure.
So I mean, it definitely seems like Nilo's like that one room that stands out at TOB at least. I actually like. I mean, I like Nilo a lot personally. Like on release, everyone was talking crap about Nilo. They were like, Maiden's my favorite room, this and that. Like Nilo's bad, it takes too long. But I always thought that the waves were really interesting, trying to do them fast. The boss is, it's like not insanely hard, but like it tests your skill, like your reaction time of switching and
Yep.
getting your prayers up and attacking, like not missing ticks. Like the boss is also pretty hard. Like I like content that you click a lot and you switch a lot and stuff. So I think the boss is nice.
Yeah, the boss is actually always my favorite part, and people would always be like, "No, the waves are like the fun part." I've never enjoyed the Nilo waves; they're so boring to me. But that's because I never studied it and got good at it. I
Yeah.
just wanted to get it over with.
Yeah, I've had my friend Rusty. He like sends me like VODs of him doing Nilo, and he's like, "Study this," since I haven't done it in a while, and he's like, "This is how you do perfect Nilo." They get like super into it and stuff,
Yeah,
but
that's
um,
intimidating. Doing all those like theater of blood tasks for all the combat achievements was pretty
yeah,
daunting because I just,
yeah, perfect theater. That is
dude, we
something
one
else.
and done it. I swear to
Really?
God. Yeah,
Wow.
we
I feel
woke
like
up
that's the
one
one
morning,
that,
we just sent it.
huh?
I mean,
I feel like everyone struggles with that one. It's
it's
rough.
it's tough, but I mean, all I was doing for the past few weeks, and these people were already grandmasters that I went with. So
Mhm.
like, I went with two grandmasters that had already done it, which is definitely made it a lot easier if I knew what they were doing. But on top of that, I had just been camping Theater of Blood for just random stuff for the past week or two, and yeah, I don't know. I felt very confident that as long as we just read all the things that we need to do, don't try to be greedy, just don't try to go fast, just do the mechanics, like it'll be fine.
Yeah, I feel like probably a reason why most of the like really good raiders probably struggle with perfect theater still is like some of the stuff that you have to do in there is like you're not doing stuff like the way you do in a
Yeah,
speedrun aspect. Like if you like the proper strats nowadays, you can't do the proper strats if you're trying to do perfect theater. Like
exactly. It's counterintuitive to like
yeah.
everything you've been taught.
I mean, I didn't even know that if you hit a Nilo with the wrong attack style, that you lose the task already. I
Yeah.
found that out like a couple days ago. I'm like, wow, that is like if you scythe a big
Yeah,
and it
you can't
hits
even
like the one
scythe.
underneath. Yeah,
You just don't
that's
even pull it
rough.
out. And it's
But I
really
guess
annoying because if you click on one that was a different style and it switches that next tick, but you already had it highlighted, it'll still attack it if you're close enough.
yeah,
Just
huh,
brutal.
that's rough. I think that one thing that kind of defeats that task a little bit though is all of the plugins at TOB, they have wheelchair Nilo. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You literally can't attack a wrong style. Like if you're equipping range, you can only click on range Nilos. If you're a mage, you can only click on mage. So you literally can't misclick an Nilo with that plugin. So I
Oh,
think that like that's
yeah.
kind of what turned me off on TOB speeds. Like I was still pretty big in speeds at TOB when it came out, and then everyone started getting all these plugins, and then obviously I can't use them because I'm a streamer and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's so demotivating that like I can't even try and do speed runs because
Yep.
it's impossible to compete. Like
Yep.
it's literally impossible to compete if you don't have the plugins.
Yep. Even entering
Specifically
the
because
rooms on certain
yeah,
ticks.
that and specifically the soda sig plugin, like the maze.
Oh yeah, just
So
running
it's
through
like
it basically
you
instantly.
lose you lose like 5 or 10 seconds without it. So it's like
Yep.
it sucks. It's like damn.
Yeah, so
And I,
what would you propose? I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk from speedrunners, even Inferno speedrunners, that really want death animations to go away and all these other things. Like,
yeah.
where do we draw the line? And I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts
I
on it?
mean, I think the death animations thing is like they should be removed.
They
Well, either
should.
that or you can't click on the
Yes,
thing.
they can
Like
keep the visual thing. Just
yeah,
get
because
rid of it.
that's their argument that they don't want to get rid of it is because they're like, oh, the artist spent this time doing the death animation, like it looks good, this and that. But like, it's so annoying. Like at Verzik, if you kill like the purples or something, it's almost like the click box gets bigger. Like,
Yeah, because it
dude, it's so
explodes
annoying.
and the whole fucking
Yeah,
screen's a click box.
yeah, yeah. Specifically at Nilo, like people who do fast waves, they use wheelchair plugin. There's actually a better death animation one called Socket Nilo. That one, if you're all in socket together, if you get an XP drop that kills the Nilo, it just disappears for everyone, so they can't like click on the same one as you. So uh,
Interesting.
that's like added on top of regular death animations. Because like low ram or whatever is just for yourself, but with the socket one, it's for everyone. So like if a mage kills a mage, you can't actually like you can't click on the mage either.
That's
So
nuts.
it like it saves ticks because maybe you're not thinking exactly the same, so you're like, okay, I see this small mage, I'm gonna click on it, and then the other person's thinking that, so it's like if they kill it before you actually click on it, like even if it's not dead, like they just
As
get
long
the
as it was
XP
attacked.
drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they get the
Wow.
XP drop to kill it, it just disappears right as the XP drop appears.
Dude, I gotta say, the talent that goes behind like creating these plugins is insane. Like to do all this stuff for free, like nobody's RuneLight's free. Or okay, not
Yeah,
RuneLight, but any other client, like I'm assuming they're
yeah.
all free. The
Some
peop
of them have added plugins that you pay for, but
mm,
I don't really know all about like those super OP ones that aren't free. So
I just think like we got so much talent in the community. These people that just love the game so much that they're willing to like create these crazy powerful plugins. I'm not saying they should be like legal in the game, some of them, but there's
yeah,
definitely a healthy line though where we can have really fun plugins that create uh competition, I guess. Like a
I think
more I don't know. It's
there's like a line between like quality of life and like cheating.
yeah, I agree.
But I think it's hard to separate that line exactly because you could almost say that like everything's quality of life, but there's like a line that you have to draw somewhere.
Yeah. What do you think about I know you're a pet hunter as well and you're approaching, I don't know how close you are. You're approaching 1,000 master clues looks like going for your bloodhound.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about clue plugins?
Um,
Are those quality of life or are those
I mean, I think that it's hard to say. I mean, some of them feel like quality of life, but then other ones it's like coming from someone on my account Lucid, that was like when I did 450 masters on that account, and so I pretty much actually have over 1,000 if you count that. But um, on that account, I all 450 there was no plugins back then, no master or no like clue plugins.
Like
So I
hot,
did all
cold.
yeah, I did hot and colds. I'd have the wiki page open where I'm like scanning around and like figuring out like, oh, I'm getting closer, and like it was fun back then because like there wasn't like as like an efficient way to do clues as there is now. Um,
I
but
have
yeah,
to.
you like you look up on the wiki. I'd have like every wiki page open.
Yep.
I had like a pattern for solving like the scroll puzzle things where you just like do like a six spot like a 3 by or a 2 by 3 pattern thing to like manipulate the
Yep.
puzzles
Yep.
around
Yep.
and um
So, but here's the thing: is we already have the resources through third party like Wiki and stuff like that. So
yeah
my argument is, I mean, I'm cool with the Clue plugins. I just feel like it's inevitable because if you don't allow them, then people will still use them because most of it's just visual.
yeah
And
I
then
mean
the
I don't
people that stream just get fucked over.
yeah I don't really have a problem with them either.
And
I mean
I
obviously
don't think it's taken away fun either. That's the other argument.
yeah, I mean clues are still really fun. I think like clues are like master clues specifically are some of the most fun like content in the game. Like even if I get Bloodhound, I've been debating on still doing clues just because like the anticipation of clicking on it and then getting like third age or something is
Oh
just
yeah,
like
it's good.
speaking of that, I got third age longsword like a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you
God,
saw that on
I must have seen that, I think.
yeah on Twitter.
Yeah.
It was third age long, torture ornament kit and two samurai hats in the same clue.
Jesus Christ. That is the
It's pretty crazy.
dream. Like,
Uh, but even then, I didn't have like a crazy reaction. I've always been kind of like more chill
yeah.
on reaction side, so I'm just like nice, and that's like my reaction.
I just
Uh,
remember that you got an L and you're just like we take those or something.
did you see that clip recently? Yeah, I was doing court boosting or I was going for pet, and I went to go pick up the onyx bolts from the kill before, and then I click and it's an Ellie as well, and I'm like we take those. I
So
I don't
like
know if you
everybody would be yelling at the top of their lungs and we just got Lucid
yeah.
Dream just like nice.
Do you know what that emote is? Here, I'll put it in the chat. That's the "we take those" emote. So it's
Okay,
like
let me
that. That's why I said that. It's like a saying that like people in Oblivion stuff say. It's like
That's so
Vince
funny.
McMahon or whatever his name is, just
See, I almost
doing the
like
money walk.
I don't know. I almost wish I could be chill with my reactions and just, but it's just organic. My reactions are freakouts if I get something. I will
Yeah,
say though, my mace, it was just relief at that point.
yeah.
Getting the
I
mace
mean, I think
drop was ugh.
there's definitely certain grinds where you're just like you're not even excited. You're just like, yes, I'm finally done.
Yeah, for real.
So I think there's a difference there. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a bad thing about getting super excited. If anything, it's almost worse to not get excited because then it's like, why are you playing this game? You're not even like enjoying it or whatever, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But there is
But
excitement.
so,
It's just like not
yeah, it's just like a different
displayed.
form. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Um Raids 3 and Nex are coming out relatively soon. So I know a lot of us want to hear your thoughts and your, I don't know, just thoughts on it, reward ideas, raid ideas, rooms. What do you think? I guess we'll start with Raids 3 because Nex is I guess, the latest announcement, and we've heard about Raids 3 for a while. So what do you think about Raids 3 as is currently, rewards and everything?
Um, I mean, they haven't really said too much about the rooms. I don't know if you looked at that like notepad document thing that I had of like my proposal for Raids 3, but
Yeah.
I wrote that like back in 2018. It's actually funny. I wrote it like 3 to 6 months after TOB, and I like proposed it to Archie. I was like, "Hey, do you want to check out these Race 3 ideas?" And he's like, "Dude, it's too soon." I'm like, I probably shouldn't. Yeah, I probably shouldn't be bringing them up this early. I mean, it hasn't even been that long since TOB came out, but
But we all thought the
um,
next raid was going to come out a year and a half after. Like,
Yeah, or like even sooner than that. Like I was thinking, like a year and a half. I mean, that was the difference between TOB or Cox and TOB
yeah,
was like a year and a half, pretty much exactly. So yeah, and then it's been like 3 years or whatever. So I don't know, maybe COVID kind of like put a snag in it a little bit too, but I think at some point you can't really use that as an excuse.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't have the DPS calcs that I had Dio do. Let me see if I can find them. But um, I definitely think that everyone has the right about like the correct opinion about the armor. Like I think pretty much everyone's just like, yeah, the armor needs to be fixed. Like
Yep.
it's just the J mods for some reason. Like uh, I don't know how vocal some of them are on like other platforms, but in Obliv we have like Nex and Raids 3 channels to discuss, and the J mods like we pretty much just everyone raging at the J mods, but they respond and like they're like, oh well, the armor you can use it at like Kraken, you can use it at Thermi, you can use it at Gargboss and Sire and this and that, and then we're like, dude, this is endgame armor. Those are not endgame bosses.
Yeah.
Like anywhere endgame that you use that armor, you're getting slapped like 20s or 40s. It's unavoidable damage. So it's like
Yep.
one hit at CM Ulm, you're dead. Like you can't even do anything about that. Or you tick it and just lose all your DPS for the next 5 seconds, like
Yeah.
or 15 seconds or however long like your overload is. So it's I mean even ticketing with sweets you lose time. So I think most people their frustrations towards the armor is correct, but I think with the wand and the ward, I don't know if people are really complaining about the ward, but still people are complaining about the wand for some reason. I think it's because no one really did the calcs, and I have them up in front of me right now. I can link them to you too, so you can
Yeah, let's see it.
check them out. But the wand and the ward is actually pretty decent. I don't remember the exact DPS difference between whip and scythe when scythe came out, but I'm pretty sure it was around like 15% or 20%. And this is like right there. This is 13%, 14%, 15.10%. So it's like it's a pretty big difference. Um,
What do you think
I think
about the differing attack speeds?
I think that's actually what can. So the DPS on paper looks good, but in real world testing or like doing it on bosses, it
Hmm.
might not be as good. Because like take Zor for example, if you do your last hit and it's the 2 tick hit, you're gonna
Yeah.
lose that big DPS. So it's not gonna be the 15%. It's gonna be like 10% or maybe even lower than that, depending on
Yeah, just depending on what the
how many
cycle
ticks
is.
you lose.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever the cycle is. So it's like it's gonna be kind of but I think maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that adds more skill to figure out like what ticks to use it on.
Yeah, no,
So you
true.
don't like but then again some of it you can't control. Like you can't control you hitting like max hits and then all of a sudden you can't get your fourth hit off because the boss is already dead.
Yeah.
Um so I don't know. I think it has that kind of like skill gap to it a little bit where it might make people stand out in terms of skill, like not losing DPS with it.
I have just going back to Masori armor. I want you to just briefly explain now after hearing a bunch of different sides of the argument of like, is Masori good or not. My proposal, and I just want to hear your thoughts on it, is I would love to see the armor come out, scrap low life, have Masori be, and it doesn't have to be called Masori, it could just be a different range armor, but um, something that has just a +2 range damage for the body, +2 for legs, and a +1 for helm. So you're just getting a +5. So it is the best in slot range armor, but I want it to be the most tanky mage defense we have. So like I think the ACP right now is +70 mage defense. I would love to have this as like +90 or just something really, really good that excels with mage defense. So, but it could lack a little bit more in the melee defense and the range defense. So technically, Arma would still be better than it in very little aspects, but overall, this armor would just be, the new best in slot armor. What do you think
Yeah,
of?
I think that's not like too bad because that kind of balances the triangle a little bit where you know, melee is weak to mage, and whatnot. So I think that like that probably kind of fits in the combat triangle.
I
I saw a good proposal by this guy named Bogey, or he's a friend of mine. He's in Obliv. Um, he was saying scrap low life and instead have it be like, it's really good power armor, like maybe even better than what you were proposing. But you get hit recoil damage. So you say you hit a 70, you get hit a 7 back. Or you hit a 60, you get hit 6 back. So it's like that power armor where
Oh,
you want to
okay.
do fast bursts of DPS, but you also take damage from doing it. So like say you're 10 HP, like you don't want to do a hit with it, and then like it's kind of like Ruby Bolts kind of like when you hit that spec,
That's
and
a cool
it drains.
idea.
Like I thought it was actually pretty cool. I'm not sure exactly how well it will fit, but like say you want to camp 70 HP or something, and you hit a 70, it does 7 damage back on you.
That's
So
that's a cool idea. So okay. Listen, so just kind of taking from that idea, what if the amulet had an effect where every, maybe 10%, maybe 20% of the time, it does a super large hit and you do get that recoil damage done to you. So what about that? So it's
yeah,
like a passive effect, so
I,
it's not happening all the time.
yeah, that could almost be a little bit better because I was concerned about that. Is like, what if you're doing like 20 hits in a row with it, and you're just like, you kill yourself from 99 HP because you
Yeah.
hit 70s the whole time. So yeah, having that like it's taking that dodgy damage thing that they said where it's like 8% or whatever. Like say it's like 8 or 10% where you get a bigger hit. Like it's like
Yes.
10% extra damage, but you get recoiled on that hit.
That
Like
would
that'd
be
be
fucking sick.
they like doing a lot of stuff like that too. Like saying, for example, like it's like it's not like every hit that you get the
Not a
heal. It's like
guarantee. Yeah.
yeah, it's not a guarantee, and then you also like it doesn't deal like 100% heals. So it's like
Yep.
it's not a guarantee, but it's also like yeah, like that kind of. I think
That would be
that's a little
cool
bit more
if the
solid.
the armor alone already was good and it's better than armor. And then on the amulet would be the thing that's affecting the
Yeah.
damage and then the recoil. That is a fucking brilliant idea. I think
And
that's cool.
that way it kind of like keeps it a little niche still because you take damage from it and it's not like guaranteed where you're gonna get that like super big hit 24/7. But
Yes. Yes.
so I think that is a pretty like fleshed out idea. I mean, I probably just that hearing him say about that recoil thing was like I kind of liked a little bit more
It's so much better than an
than the low
arbitrary.
life.
Yeah.
But then having that on top of it instead, where it's like a percent chance. I think the mods wouldn't really want that recoil every time, so I think it's a little bit like that might be more in their favor of something they would like. Um,
Yeah. I also am just a huge fan of the really high mage defense because I think it's silly that a Carol's top is still our best in slot mage defense for like melee and stuff. I
yeah,
would
if
love
you do
armor
like
that's really
corp,
good.
if you do, well, I think you've been doing corp lately. Like
Yeah.
even with alting corp and stuff, you have like Carol's like bottoms on, or I think instead of Carol's, I was using like third age range top or something, but
Yeah.
uh,
But
yeah, you like use that instead because it's like you have to use that even when you're meleeing, which is
I
like why are you
know.
using range armor when you're meleeing? It's like
I know. That I mean and it makes sense that range armor should have the most mage defense, but
yeah,
having something come from that's still from Barrows in 2005 being best in slot is really silly. So that needs to change and I'm still sad that currently proposed there's nothing better than a Carol's top still in
yeah.
2022.
I like the idea of that new best in slot corp item because I think that item's already kind of niche that they're coming
Oh,
out
the
with.
Fang, Osmumten's
Yeah,
Fang.
so having it with like help with corp is something that will like kind of at least will be useful somewhere.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes, yes, yes.
So, and then that'll kind of help that, like, if you get that item, you can go do Corp for, like, at least an Ironman case. They can go do Corp and get the Arcane, so then they can use the
Yes.
Ward of Elendis or whatever, or Elidinus. I don't know how
Eladinus,
to
yeah.
say it, but yeah. So, like,
That is
it kind, it
exactly what
kind
I
of,
want.
it kind of goes back and forth where, like, if you get lucky and you get the Fang first, you can do Corp at least to try and get the Arcane to fill in, so it's like,
Yes.
it kind of goes together. I think another thing, too, is, um, I mean, I know it's kind of be kind of weird to defend Jagex because everyone always has their pitchforks out and stuff, but some of these like items that they're coming out with, like we don't know the mechanics of future things. We don't know the mechanics of raids. Like
Yep.
what if Virtus is actually going to be best in slot at raids 3 just because you use ancients there or something like that? I think it's hard because they're getting mad at us for being like ignorant and being like, oh no, it's just trash, this and that. And like maybe they have ideas that it's gonna fit in, but they don't want to say the mechanics because they're still trying to
They
keep
don't
it a
want to spoil
secret.
it.
So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I kind of see where they're coming from. I mean, I don't know if that is the case, but that could be a factor in it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Absolutely.
Um, and then going back on raids 3, I think we covered um the rewards a decent amount. So I'm gonna go into like rooms and stuff and bring up back my raids 3 proposal that I had, and I thought, everyone kind of like the difference between Cox and TOB. TOB is static; it's the same every time. Cox, at least regular Cox, is dynamic. People don't like the scouting, but it does make it a little bit like feel new and unique every raid, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So what I had to propose instead of scouting was, well, my this was themed for a pyramid. Was my idea. It was either a pyramid or like a crypt, but they went with a tomb, which is pretty much a crypt. So I had for the first room it'd be called Protector of, and then it'd be like Tombs of a Masket. And then you talk to the thing. My thing was gonna be a Sphinx, and it would sit outside the raid, and you talk to it, and then you'd have to fight it to gain access to the raid. And then once you're inside the raid, that's when the like different rotations come into play. So you can't scout. It's like an anti-scouting mechanic.
Mm.
Um, I mean, obviously you'd have all of the same rooms, but it would be like TOB where what if you have like Bloat in the first room, Maiden in the third room, like Nilo in the second room, Zarpus and
Yeah.
or whatever. So it'd be like you'd still get every room every time, but it'd be a different rotation. So I thought that was kind of like interesting. I don't know if you were around for the TOB announcements, but they had a room called the Keymaster room. And I think in the desert and like in a pyramid and crypt, that room is actually way better fit than the Theater of Blood. Um, I don't know if you know that
No, I
room at
don't.
all, but
I don't remember.
it was pretty much a room where they say that you have one like tanky guy that picks up this key, and when you have the key, like all the monsters aggro you pretty
Oh
much,
yeah, I think I
and you
remember.
can't attack with the key, and you like you can't run, you can only walk. And you go from like
Yeah.
you have to go from one end of the room to the other end, and like your teammates have to defend you or whatever. And then obviously you can like drop the key and give it to a different teammate to have them tank or something. So it's kind of like that strategic thing where you have to have someone like who can't attack back. You got to have your team defend them.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of like an interesting room, and I think that would fit in pretty well in like a pyramid or a crypt style, because they have all the booby traps, they have all this and that, and I think it's just better fit for that. And then I had a mummy boss. So the whole room is filled with torches on the ground, and you have to keep the like certain parts of the room lit up, and when it's dark you take damage. So if you're not inside like say a 3x3 area that's lit up, you'll like take like twos, or say it's like a nightmare for example where you get hit
Oh, the
outside the
flowers.
flowers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that where if you're not inside the lit up areas you'll take damage. I mean, I don't want to like come up with mechanics for everything, but I think that would be a unique mechanic where like it kind of goes into play like TOB or Maiden where you have to stand on certain tiles.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that'd be kind of an interesting mechanic.
Okay, I have to ask, did you play Crash Bandicoot when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Did you play Crash Bandicoot Warped? The third one?
Which one? Yeah, I'm not familiar. I mean,
That was
I
the one
played a
with
lot of it, but I don't remember
Oh,
all of
your
all of the
ideas
games.
your ideas reminded me of the fifth little room that you unlock, and like there's five mini bosses or five mini things you do until the boss, and there was this one that's kind of desert themed. It's like you're in a tomb and you have this little firefly that's like running around you, and then as soon as it goes out, you're in pitch black. Like just kind of reminds me of that. Like you need to keep it lit.
I mean, some of these probably draw inspirations from like other games that I've played, but I might not like. It might just be in my
Realize it.
subconscious,
Yeah.
that like you just like think about it and you're like, where did I get that idea from?
Yeah.
So I think that would be an interesting room. Obviously, they can. I mean, that wouldn't be too hard by itself, but paired with other mechanics, I think that actually be pretty unique.
Mm-hmm.
Having it where, you know, well, I guess it's not necessarily unique because Nightmare has something like that, but it's still something where you have to, stay in certain tiles and while you're fighting the boss.
Yep.
And then I had a room that I kind of designed that was similar to Nilo a little bit. where like Nilo, there's lots of strategy to it, at least the waves and the boss, where you have different people who are killing like different styles and stuff. And it's a serpent room. There's 9 serpents. There's 3 mages, 3 rangers, 3 melees, and they're kind of lined up, kind of like a box or like a square where they're in line, like it's a 3x3 pretty much. So there's 3 of different each style. There's 9, and each style does a different mechanic. So you have to kind of choose. Are you going to kill, like, so one, for example, it like disables your prayer, another one like stuns you, another one poisons you. So you have to decide, like, so there's 3 mages. One mage stuns you, one mage turns off your prayer, a different one poisons you, and then same with the range and the melee. So you have to decide, like, am I going to kill all 3 melees? Am I going to kill all 3 rangers? Like, am I going to kill all 3 of the ones to take off your prayer? Or are you going to kill the ones with this? Like, are you going to kill one of each one? So, I mean, obviously, like, those aren't the best mechanics, but you can fill in that, like, you could do, like, 3 that do each of their own unique things. And it just has that, like, strategical part where I think that TOB or TOA, they have that strategic part that they said where there's going to be different paths, where each path that you go down, like, it's going to make the rest of the raid different and make you think, like, which one do I kill first?
Yeah.
So I don't know if they necessarily took inspiration from this room, but I did show that, or I talked to them about this room, and I think it's a pretty solid room in my opinion. Obviously, they have to flesh out the exact mechanics and stuff, but it makes you think kind of like Nilo, where it's like, which one do you kill first? Like, it has, I like the Nilo aspect where it's team coordination, and that's exactly what this room would be.
Are you a fan of puzzles? Like, or are you more of a fan of combat only? Like, I know a lot of people love the Theater of Blood aspect.
I like combat only as well. I think puzzles have their place. I mean, I don't know if you'd really call Cox rooms puzzles.
They're not.
I know they're called puzzles, but like
they're not.
But the thing with that though is if they do have puzzles, there's going to be third-party plugins that just solve the shit for you in like the first week. So that's actually another thing that I had in there was puzzle rooms it actually fit in a crypt or a pyramid because like the puzzles would be like booby traps or something. So it actually fit the theme quite well, having like certain puzzles. Like, oh, you have to step on these tiles in a certain order. And that can kind of go back to the mummy boss that I was talking about. Like, maybe instead of like standing in the lit up sections, you have to stand on certain tiles while you're attacking it. And I don't know.
See, what I think what would be cool is a puzzle that's really team based. So like you can. There's always going to be plugins for everything, but I'm thinking, like, what if it would show? I don't know. There's something that's saying like make this shape or something, and you have to almost make this certain shape with your teammates. So if you're in like a 5-man and it's telling you to make like, I don't know, a pentagon or something, you have to like, you all have to be in a certain position almost to make it, or things like that where it's like really team based. So it's similar to Crab Room. I get like Crabs is the only thing in Chambers that's somewhat puzzle based, but it's very basic and it's a little, I don't know, it's a little boring.
That kind of reminds me of like entering DKs. I have to step on the 2 tiles.
Yeah.
So that kind of has me go back to like the puzzle aspect or the booby trap, where like you all have to stand on your own tiles to like either whether it be in a certain shape or like a line or whatever. Can add that aspect where, you have to be in a certain formation or whatever.
See, and what would make it even more interesting, probably annoying as well, but like imagine if Crabs, there were other things that you were worried about. So it's not just get the crystal here and pray melee, but there's
like a little minion that follows the orb that tries to like eat the orb or something. And
just like something else that's like causing another dynamic. Or even what if the Crabs changed colors? So you really got to fucking focus. You're like, like, so,
or you can't even attack them. They just change colors by themselves or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then as well as the Crabs would stop just attacking melee. So you have to always pray the right thing as well. So there's just so much more going on like that. Again, it might be really tedious, but it could also be really fun if it's done well.
Yeah.
So
I sent you the like proposal thing that I wrote down as well, just so you can look at
sick.
it and whatnot. But I don't know if you like. Did you think that the Serpent Room was like something that could be interesting, or
I've heard so
what were your
many
thoughts on
ideas
that?
from Raids 3, and like I had glanced at this prior, so I didn't like think about it much afterward. But
Yeah.
no, I remember Lopsy had an idea as well. If um, I was talking to him on the Sae Bae cast, and he had a bunch of ideas for Raids 3, and one of them was like a puzzle. Like imagine like a soda seg path, but it's I don't know how he explained it. He explained it in a certain way, but basically there's a person at each of the two ends, and you're getting through this like I don't know 5 by 25 thing. So it's like it's 5 tiles wide, but it's 25 tiles lengthwise, and basically there would be like little boulders you have to push and stuff to get past it. But whatever you do on your side is causing an effect on the other side. So like you're both trying to get past this little thing to get to the next room. And
Mm.
I don't know. I would suck at explaining it, but there
Yeah,
are
I
a
know
lot
what
of
you
puzzle
mean.
things that you can do that wouldn't be completely solved by a third party plugin. Like you'd still have to put in thought every time, and it could
Well, I feel like
randomize.
if oh yeah, I guess if it's randomized, I was just gonna say if it's the same every time, or not necessarily the same, but like close to the same, you could just use the socket plugin that you'd all be in the party
Yeah,
together,
that's true.
and then that would solve through that because it would like say which one to click on. But that boulder movement thing, I think there's something similar to that on RS3 and like quests. Um, but yeah, I mean that stuff like that is definitely or it kind of reminds me like dungeoneering with some of the puzzles in there. Um, Obviously nowadays those puzzles are super easy in dungeoneering, but at least they make you kind of like think and stuff. And I guess if you do them wrong, they can take quite a while.
Yeah. One thing that needs to be done though, and I think Jagex, the team, can finally kind of understands what's fun in a fight, based on what Nightmare was and Fasani's Nightmare. Fasani's Nightmare is just so much better in every way. But I think so. Just kind of going back to the boulder thing, like pushing a boulder should not slow down the pace. I feel like if you moved a boulder, it should move instantaneously. It should almost, be like attacking something where like if you're 2 tiles away, you can attack it instantly. You don't have to run up
Yeah.
2 tiles and then attack it. Like we need fast-paced stuff. That's what we really need. That's what keeps the raid engaging. Having a thieving room mid fucking raid is the worst idea, or like an ice demon where you're just sitting
That
there chopping trees. Like, oh my god, the pace is
that kind of
gone.
that like reminds me of like the boulder at Cox. Like sometimes it's like instant, and then sometimes it's like 20 ticks later. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, it's,
I just think of
it's
that when you were saying about like it not slowing you down. It just
yeah,
reminds me of that where it's like sometimes it slows you down, and then sometimes it doesn't.
yeah. It like depends on the
It's
tick
funny.
you do it.
I agree with you kind of on Ice Demon, but I think Thieving, I've kind of grown. Well, I guess maybe it's because I've been doing so much CM speeds, but kind of grown to appreciate like how strategic like perfecting Thieving can actually be. Like we just learned about Squirk Juice, like a year ago or so.
Yeah,
What's that red beer in your inventory? I mean,
yeah.
everyone always asks me that. They're like, "What is that?" Um,
That's
but
cool that
like,
that has a actual
yeah, it's
function.
crazy. Like that's actually like I think that that's actually one of like the coolest, most niche mechanics that we've figured out more recently. Like I don't think there's a cooler like item for any kind of raid speed run besides the squirk. Like it's so basic, but it's like it's so interesting that you would never think about it, and then all of a sudden it's just a thing where it's like one of the most time saving items, and it's super good. And I
Yeah,
think with thieving
that's cool. That's cool to me.
at least in team aspects, we've kind of like grown to like optimize thieving as much as possible. Like we go to the same spots every time. We have certain things where we have call outs where we end up shifting to different spots when people dump to save a tick each person and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
uh, just optimizing it. And I mean, obviously, it's not like a combat room, but I think that a lot of people say it's really bad. I mean, it used to be even worse than what it is now, but I've kind of grown to appreciate like the strategic part kind of behind it, like perfecting it. I mean, there's still RNG there, but
That is true
just
in team
minimizing
sizes.
tick lot. Yeah, in team size at least,
Yeah.
it's all about uh minimizing tick loss. The squirk juice helps a lot with extra grubs to make it even faster. And yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, it's still not. It's still probably on the lower list of rooms.
But there is
I
ways to make
remember
it interesting. Yeah.
back before Vanguards used to drop pots. I would always say Vanguards was my favorite room because I thought that like killing them was really cool and strategical. But everyone would just like talk shit about it and hate on Vanguard so much.
I know that was Casey's favorite room. Back when
Yeah.
Casey was doing a shit ton of raids and CMs and
I
stuff.
remember when I was higher Casey, I became friends with Casey for a little while. I mean, I still say that I'm friends with him, but we don't really talk much.
Yeah.
And I brought him on raids, and I remember we were in like the thieving room one time, and he had like his assembler on still for some, or I forgot what room it was. He had like assembler when he didn't need it on or need to have it on, and he's like, oh, I got my backpack on, going to school to get taught by Lucid or something like that. I have like a screenshot of it still, just because I thought it was funny. But yeah. But going back to the TOA rooms that I had another room idea. I guess the Serpent room isn't actually like Nilo. It's strategical like Nilo, but it's not similar to Nilo. I had another room that kind of ties into that Keymaster room where we already have these monsters in game 2, the Locust Riders, the Giant Scarabs, and the Scarab Mages. Like one's melee, one range, one mage. And you can have those in the Keymaster room. Like and then it would be like Nilo kind of, but you attack them with a style that they're weak to rather than seeing that they're blue and attacking with mage.
Mm,
So I guess some people that don't necessarily remember the combat triangle, you might get kind of confused and attack one with the wrong style because you see blue and you automatically think, oh, attack it with
mage. Yeah.
mage or something. And then these wouldn't really be colored; they'd just be different, like different NPCs in general. Because the Scarab mages are like these pharaoh dude type things, and then I think the Locust Riders are like these little gnome dudes or something that are on top of scarabs, and the giant scarabs are just like these scarabs. So it's like they're different, like they don't look the same. So I think that would be the distinction. But that will kind of fit into the Keymaster room where maybe those are the things that are attacking you. Um, but yeah.
Interesting.
And then I had for the final boss, I had a boss pretty much similar to Next, but we're already getting Next, so that's kind of already scrapped. I had another idea where the longer you're in the pyramid, I guess it's a crypt at this point. It starts collapsing or it starts falling in on
Mm,
you. So you start taking damage. So if you take too long, like you can't just sit there and stand around. Like I think one thing that sucks about TOB is people pause between the rooms. At Cox, if you pause between the rooms, you're gonna get like a 40-minute raid time, you know?
yeah.
I mean, you still get a 40-minute raid time at TOB, but for some reason, people only care about the wave time. So I think that this kind of encourages you to get through the raid as fast as possible. Maybe after you, like, uh, maybe have it on timers where once you get through 2 rooms, it extends the timer so you have an extra 5 minutes or something. But I had it potentially a wipe mechanic where if you take too long, you just die. But I thought
Okay.
it kind of fits that desert theme or at least for pyramid and crypt or tomb, I guess. Like it's collapsing. Like you're sitting there trying to like pillage it for its loot and stuff, but if you take too long, it's gonna
Yeah.
collapse like booby traps or something. So
I'm sort of imagining like the Monkey Madness 1 tunnels where like you go in there, it shakes occasionally. It deals
yeah,
you some damage from falling
or
rocks.
or I don't know if you know what Barrow's Rise of the Six is in RS3.
No.
It's like Barrow's 2.0 pretty much. And after you loot the chest in there, you have to like get out of the tunnels fast enough, or else they collapse on you, or you like start taking damage while running out.
Oh.
But instead of that, it'd be while you're doing the raid. So if you take too long, like you go to the bathroom mid raid or something, like you can't just sit. Like you got to get through as fast as you can, you know.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
kind of it's also like an anti mechanic against like bots and stuff because if they don't meet those DPS checks and they take too long, they take too much damage.
Yeah. Okay, so you watched Aladdin, right? Like the original Aladdin cartoon.
That was so long ago.
But you know what I mean? Like when he goes in that cave and like he's trying to get the lamp or whatever, and the cave is like collapsing on them, and he has like the magic carpet trying to get out. You know, I don't know if you.
I don't really remember that.
Okay.
I was probably like under 10 or something at that
Okay.
point. It's
Yeah, I mean it's been like a decade since I've seen it, but I definitely still can kind of well, somebody listening is probably knows what I'm talking about. But I think what would be sick is to have these distractions almost. So like you're in the hallway going to the next room, but you have all this gold and like little urns that you could loot and just lose time on, and they're like little distractions that are there. So instead of it just being like very just go to the next room, no distractions, I really feel like it would be cool to have random shit you could loot in the raid and keep for afterward, you know?
yeah.
But there's traps to it. So, you know, if you loot one, there's a chance that it fucks somebody up and it poisons somebody or poisons you, like this uncurable poison. So there's like, I don't know. I think that would be cool. And even besides just gold rewards, like maybe an actual unique, really rare item that can come from looting. Just
Yeah, like a
randomly.
scepter.
Yeah, like randomly throughout the
Right,
raid,
yeah.
you just get something that's maybe an unlimited Pharaoh scepter would be a cool little item. You know, something.
Yeah,
That's,
and we have, like the eternal glory. We have the elf teleport, the eternal teleport
Yeah.
shard or seed or whatever it's called, and that would actually probably fit in pretty well there. I was gonna say something like that, but have it I mean, I was thinking more like next where you get the shards or whatever to like charge the one item. I forgot what item it was, but you'd get like some smaller unique that you use to like maybe charge the Misori's armor, or maybe you get something from those that you charge the amulet with if you go with that recoil effect. Like maybe you have to charge it like to get that effect.
absolutely.
So
Untradeable or
I
tradable, would you prefer? If that were a thing.
I mean, me personally, I like tradable aspects just because I'm a main. I think they messed up when having kits and stuff from raids untradeable. I mean, obviously it's like a status symbol if you do have them, but I think that a lot of mains at least think of stuff like, why would I do this if it's not good GP? So it just adds into like a little bit of a GP value if it's tradable, and then it doesn't really affect irons at that point either. So
I agree. I think things should be tradable.
yeah, I'm more I'm more on the tradable side of stuff usually. I mean, look at RS3 with their dice from clues. Like that stuff is like that's tradable. Like helps a lot, and um, I don't know. I like that aspect of certain things, but like I said, I'm a main, so any like it just hard mode TOB, it's probably like super dead nowadays. Like I haven't even went back. I did like 160 KC. None of my friends do it anymore, so I just gave up on trying to get the kits because it's like once you already get the kits, why would you go back? You know, it has to either be fun enough to go back or a GP incentive to go back.
Yeah.
So, well, at least for mains. Um, so yeah, I think that might not be a bad idea. I mean, that's kind of like the pyramid plunder a little bit, where you can choose to loot some of the urns, or rush to the end and then loot the urns or whatever. So
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about Nex? So Nex was announced with the rewards at least, and there are a few rewards. There's new range gloves. There's a new bow that shoots out multiple stuff, and there's of course a new mage armor. And I think that was it. And then there's of course there's like other little smaller things, but I think those are like the main items, right?
Yeah, there's the new brews or whatever, but those are like magic. I mean, I don't even know why they're calling them brews, but yeah, there's a couple other smaller things.
Was there something? Was it just 5 things, like 3 mage pieces, the bow and the gloves? Or am I missing something?
I thought there was 6 items.
That's what I'm thinking. No,
There's an armor set and then 3 other items. I forgot what the extra. I mean, the item must be so bad that no one really.
I can't think of it.
But
I need to look it up real quick.
yeah, let me look up the RS page.
Okay, next rewards. Oh, Ancient God Sword. That was it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That was kind of like out of the blue. I wasn't really expecting that one, but
I'm okay with it. Actually,
I think that a lot of people aren't liking it because they're saying the AGS is still going to be better, at least some PKers, because The only way it will be good is like say you barrage someone and they're frozen, and then you use the spec so they can't run away. Because instantly, all they have to do is just run some tiles, and then all it's gone. The effect's gone.
Yeah. No,
So
but I think even in PVM it has a place, and I guess I was thinking more of the PVM side. It's
you think
like
so? I feel like claws is just like the spec weapon to go, or
I
you use Dragon Warhammer.
I think claws will be, the just always kind of like the go-to just for pure DPS. I don't think claws are going to be devalued by this, but the fact that you could hit a monster that does as much damage as I think like an SGS currently does, and then on top of that have a random 20, guaranteed 20. That's the other thing, is it's guaranteed. It looks
Yeah.
like. So the guaranteed is like the really big thing in my opinion. I'm thinking of a place where claws wouldn't be that good. Like, so Fasani's, I think a Gmaul is better than claws just simply because of its slash defense is so high. But there's places where this Ancient God Sword would actually be really good, especially if you want both DPS and healing. Like if you want to stay for longer. I don't know. I think it's in a really good position where it's not too OP, and the claws are still going to be better for most places, but it's adding like a really powerful use to people that want to, I don't know.
I guess people who like don't alt or Iron Mans as well.
Yeah, for
is
Iron Man, it's
where-
a really good item,
Yeah.
I think.
I saw some people propose that instead of having that special attack to have a DOT, which is damage over time, like an RS3.
Oh, like the Morrigan's javelins?
Yeah. So in RS3, there is ancient god sword's called the Zero's god sword, and its spec it like spawns a pool under you that like you have buffed attack, like you have like 50% more damage for like 20 seconds. Where I
Interesting.
mean, they were thinking either that or like, I mean, that's not damage over time, but maybe something that like makes your opponent bleed. So they like take like 5 damage for the every tick for the next however long, or every like 2 ticks for however long.
Yeah. So what I
Or-
mean, what would the damage be
So
total? Like, do you think 20
Well,
is
they're
enough?
well, no, they were saying, well, I mean, this isn't my idea, this is theirs, and they were thinking that like it would be better than claws in terms of like damage, at least DPS over time. Claws is like that good burst damage, but this would be stronger than claws, but it would be over time. So claws would still be useful for, say like Vasa Crystal or wherever you're trying to do DPS fast to
Yeah.
kill like that monster or whatever, and this would be more for like a long-term fight. Say like Verzik P3 or something, where you'd spec and then it would do more damage over time, so it'd be better DPS than claws over time at least. But for shorter attack type things or burst damage, you'd still use claws. So I don't know, I think that's interesting.
I think regardless of what they go with, like I'm not passionate about any specific effect of this God Sword, but I think it will fill a really nice place
I think
in the game.
the main problem is the bow and the armor is I think the other items people aren't really complaining about as much. I mean, it's just like TOA, like TOA has some good rewards, but like the main big rewards that everyone's thinking about are trash. So it's like the ward and the wand I think are pretty decent as is. But the armor and stuff needs to get fixed. And then same goes for like the bow. It's like they came out with bow of Faderin or whatever. I don't know how to say that word, but they came out with that, not long ago, and then now they're coming out with another bow. People are asking for like a crossbow instead. Since we have ACB,
Yeah.
so it's like a new best in slot crossbow would be nice. That'd be something for like, T-bow's not good everywhere, and maybe this bow is good in the places that T-bow's not.
I think this bow is really cool. Okay, so here's the question I have. I have it pulled up right now, and I actually got a YouTube comment talking about it. Apparently, this bow can shoot an additional target that's within 2 tiles of the main target you're shooting. But with the Vam braces, I thought, and again, I'm still actually kind of confused. I thought it would attack 2 more targets on top of the main one and the additional one. But now that I'm reading it, it kind of sounds like it can
It's
only do
three targets. Yeah, it's
Three
three
max.
targets in
Okay.
total. Yeah.
I was
But
confused then.
apparently it's not like chins. So it doesn't roll off of the NPC that you're attacking. They're all individual rolls.
Okay.
So it's pretty much bad. Like
I mean,
the only it's gonna be new best in slot for BA, I think, and I don't know where else it's really gonna like Arma. You're not gonna use it just because you don't want to use it on Arma itself.
I know for
Uh,
Inferno,
this-
it's going to be really good for the
yeah, it'd be
blobs.
good for Inferno. It would be good for BA. Like Third Age Bow has crashed. Of course, I bought it like a couple days ago, and then it crashed like 250 mil
God
because
damn
of
it.
this bow. But I'm kind of holding out for it to turn into a crossbow because then you can't use it at BA. So,
Well,
um,
here's my thing is I understand people want it to be a crossbow, but would it be a 4-tick crossbow or would it maintain the 5-tick default crossbow speed?
yeah, I'm not sure what people are really asking, and I've just seen people asking for crossbow. So I think they're trying to stick with like how like ACB and everything else and keep it in line with all the other crossbows.
I'll be
Um,
honest, I think a bow would be cooler simply because all we have that shoots out dragon arrows is a T-bow and a third age bow. And
yeah.
first of all, like I'm actually kind of butthurt that without even any community without the community even having any like say about this, they're already saying that you should be able to save ammo. Like it's saying
Mm.
this doesn't use an additional arrow when you get extra shots off. I feel like this is the
Yeah.
perfect opportunity to have an arrow
Well,
sync. I don't know. I feel like
with
it should.
dark bow, I don't think that does an extra arrow, or I don't think it saves, or yeah, I think it saves arrow. I think it's only one for when it does like the
The
double
special
arrow,
attack or something. Or oh yeah, just the. Oh, does it really?
just the regular.
I
I
thought it
think
shot
so.
out too.
Well, I'm not. I don't know. I've only used it in BA, so I'm not
You're
100% sure.
probably
But
right. I have no idea. I've never thought about that.
yeah, it's. I
I
don't know. I think that like to have it be that extra. Well, at least if it worked like chins, I could see the like using three arrows be a good thing. Just because that's like the trade off between having like chins for free, pretty much.
yeah.
Um, but and I still yeah, it does make sense. Like, how are you firing three arrows? Like, unless it's one arrow that's ricocheting. But other than that, it's like, shouldn't it use three arrows or however many targets you hit?
I personally think it should use additional arrows, and I also think that Nex should have a common drop of dragon arrows, so that there are more high level arrows that come into the game. But seriously, I feel like it's really silly to lessen the blow of not using arrow. I don't know. I just feel like it's so dumb. Every Iron Man in the entire game has like 250,000 rune arrows they'll never use in their life.
Well, that's probably who they're thinking about for this though. Is they're thinking that like
But I'm just
they're
like,
I don't know. They
let
think
us
I don't
use
know.
it. Everything shits out arrows. Like, let us use the arrows. The fact that a crystal bow doesn't even use ammo is just like, it's so
Yeah.
silly.
Going back to that too, I think that's kind of one of the arguments that it should be a crossbow is just because we just got that new bow, the bow of Faderin or whatever it's called, and I still don't know how do you even say that name. Let me see if I
Ferdinand.
can-
I call it Ferdinand.
Yeah, Ferdinand. Yeah, that's probably about right. I don't know. It's weird how they're giving us like, and they're replacing items that are newer than older items. Like same with Virtus. I think Virtus like, we got Ancestral is new. I mean, I don't even think it's gonna replace Ancestral, but um, like why not give us Torva instead as the one armor? Like Torva is like that, probably like one of the more iconic sets out of the three sets from Nex,
I
and
I
I
agree.
I just think that like why are they they're trying to replace Ancestral
Yeah,
when Bandos and Arma is way older. So it's like, why are you replacing like 5-year-old content versus 10-year-old content? So
I
I
completely
don't know.
agree with you. I think they should completely. My opinion. Again, we'll see what after people actually use it on Thursday or Wednesday or whenever the little beta test is coming out. But seriously, I feel like they should just scrap the whole Virtus idea and just come out with a melee armor. If that can be Torva, I don't know. Again, I never played back then.
Well, it
I
doesn't
don't.
have to be the exact stats of Torva.
It's something that's better than Bandos.
It shouldn't be the exact old Torva because that was probably too OP. But yeah, it should be better. I mean, I was even saying like just to appease the people who don't want to replace old bests and slot like Bandos and Arma, like maybe add it like so it's an attachment to Bandos. And the same with the Masuri armor. You can just make it so it's like added on to Arma, so Arma and Bandos still keep their like value. Because I
Yeah.
think that's one thing that they're scared of is they don't want like these older iconic items to be like useless. I mean, some people don't like that like adding on aspect, but I think that's one way to kind of like please everyone. And
I'm a huge
R
fan of attachments. Like,
yeah,
it's not.
RS3 does a really good job on their bests and slots. Like it's either an attachable, it degrades, you spend a lot of GP to fix it from degrading. Like so like their power armor and stuff's pretty expensive to use, and like some of the stuff they just fixed one of the items. It's called like Grimoire book or whatever, and in R3 it's like an extra 10% range damage or something like that, and it used to cost like 20 mil an hour to use. So it's like just
Jesus.
having power armor that you actually have to spend GP on, like even if on OSRs, if it's like 2 mil or 1 mil an hour to use it, like it's a trade-off, you know, to make it so we can actually finally get power creep, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Thing, you know, the
Okay,
blood
okay.
essence stuff.
So here's my question, and I already kind of have a proposal for it. So let's just say, okay, wait, what would you want the stats of Torva to be in your ideal situation, or an ideal?
Um,
What's your ideal proposal, I guess, for Torva
I
if it
mean,
were to
I
be?
don't remember the stats of old Torva, but they had the extra HP as well. They can scrap that. You could like bring your HP even higher than 99.
Yeah, I heard
Like
that.
uh
So just
they
scrap
can
that.
yeah, they can scrap that so it's
Okay.
still 99. I mean, even if it's just like 3 to 5 on top of Bandos or something, like people would still like it'd still be worth a lot. So it's like
S-
it doesn't you don't have to have like plus 50 or some like big
Yeah.
number, you know.
Okay,
It could
so
just be like slightly better and it would still
so
like
what
what
if
it
what if sorry for interrupting, but what if like the Torva chest plate was +6, so just +2 over Bando's chest plate, and the legs were +4? Like, is that would that be enough to satisfy, or do you think the community would?
well we'd have the oh well I guess helms are kind of weird too. Well, I
The
guess
helm could be
yeah, there's
+7. How
yeah,
about that?
they'd still have the helm.
How about it's
Um
+7, so it still is better than the.
I don't know
Helms
where
are
we're
weird in
at.
this game,
I don't
honestly.
know where we're at. Well, yeah, it's just a Slayer. I'm not sure where we're at right now for Scythe max hits. Like how many pluses we need for the next max. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Um, like I mean, even if it gives it like Scythe one extra max hit, I think people would still be happy with it. But I'm not sure exactly like how many pluses the next max hit is, whether it be +2 or +3.
Would you
Um,
want Torva to have a set effect, or do you think? What do you think about set effects as well?
No, I think that's kind of weird just because like if you're gonna use it at Slayer, that just ruins it automatically.
Yep, I agree.
Obviously it's good for places outside like endgame PVM. It's nice for set effects.
I'm
I
kind
mean,
of bothered by set effects, to be honest. I don't know why. I feel
I
like
think that like having the set effect but on each separate piece of item is fine.
yeah, oh yeah, I
Um
agree with that.
like but I don't know, so I think set effects can still be good because like the set effect is good outside of Slayer, and then like inside of Slayer, I mean the armor's still good enough to use. So it's like I don't know. I think that the set effects are nice because it's not like you're gonna have an Olm task or a TOB task or a TOA task, or I don't even think there would be a next task. So it's like having like that set effect would be nice. Although you probably won't melee next, but who knows what the meta will be.
Yeah, I really feel like they should scrap Virtus and just add a melee armor that's slightly
Yeah.
better than Bandos. Do you think it should? Do you think you should have to sacrifice Bandos to get this new armor?
Well, yeah, like a attachment. I think. I mean,
Do you think an attachment, or
I
I mean, I guess either way it's the same thing, but
yeah, it's the same thing. Uh, I don't know. I think that that could work. I think that would mainly only be because of people getting mad that Bandos is useless at that point. It's just to appease to try and make everyone happy that make an attachment.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but I mean, we all kind of know with Serb boots that attachments don't always work that well because look at like Pegasian crystal versus the other crystals and stuff.
Yeah,
So I think it just depends. But then again, if it's an attachment all for the same set and not different attack styles, they should be around the same price still. I mean, that's looking at it more from like a main perspective because like if you get Pegasians, it's like 100k. But that's because the ranger boots are way more than the other boots. So, um, I mean, I think it would probably still work with bandos.
I think what would be really cool if they did add Torva is make some adjustments to Inquisitors. I think Inquisitors will be. I don't know what they're going to do with Torva defensively and offensively. I don't know if there's going to be any actual accuracy buffs. I don't think so. But I think Inquisitors needs a buff, and I think it's needed a buff since it came out. And I think
it got pulled for a buff. I mean, some of the stuff did pass, but that one that it doesn't have the negative stats didn't pass.
I'm not too
because then it
bothered.
would have just replaced bandos at that point for at least low defense monsters. But
Yeah, it would have replaced it, but the fact that Inquisitors is so squishy.
Yeah,
I know
I think
defense
that like
doesn't matter much, but
I think Inquisitors should almost always have a place in terms of specking down defenses, but that could just be it. Is just a switch. Like I think that'd be almost fine, even if it's just a switch for. I think it. I think Torva should be worse for Dragon War hammering at least. I'm not sure how they can really balance that, but I think that maybe have like an effect with the Inquisitors where if you wear it, like you have a higher chance at hitting your Dragon War hammer spec or something.
see
Because
that
that's like that. That's like the armor that needs to stay for
accuracy.
having for the spec armor.
I think they should make the 0.5% damage and accuracy passive effect. I think they should really increase that by double at least and make it 1% per piece, and then make it like a 4% total instead of 2.5. Something like that where it's just a little bit. I don't know. I just feel like it needs a little bit of a buff. I'm okay with the negative offensives with different styles, but
Yeah. But going back to Virtus it may seem bad now, but what if that they're like hinting at something where you're gonna end up using it at like TOB or TOA? I don't know. I think they kind of chose weird words for that. Like, I wish they would have just called it like crypt of something instead of tomb because
yeah, the
like,
TOA and TOB.
yeah, TOA, TOB. Like, I'm permanently gonna get that like mixed up 24/7.
I can't wait for
So
TOC to come out.
yeah,
The next one.
starting to learn the alphabet at this point. Um,
I mean, it's not
going
even
down.
about Virtus being good or bad. It's just like we don't need another mage set. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going back to like why you're placing Ancestral when it's way newer and Ancestral comes from a raid.
Yep.
Like why you're placing raid items with a boss item. I mean, in my opinion, I think raids is reserved for in power creep. Bosses can be reserved for niche stuff.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with that
I
sentiment.
think that like I mean at least where we're at, like raids aren't necessarily like don't have to be a big thing, but they are a big thing now and they need to stay a big thing where raids is like that one piece of content that whatever raid it's gonna be, it's that the items you're gonna get from it are gonna be worth it. Like I think there's a difference there that could be between that and bosses at least.
I agree. What do
And
you,
raids should have more rewards compared to bosses because it's a raid and not a boss. Like a boss shouldn't have 20 items like Nightmare. I think Nightmare
yeah,
it should have just been Inquisitors and the Mace and that's it. You
I
don't need
agree.
any of the other staffs. Like they should have kept it plain and simple and not too many rewards.
And it shouldn't have
And
been as
then
crazy rare as it was on release.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
Inquisitors. I don't know.
Um,
What do you think of this is I guess a little bit off, but it's kind of talking about accuracy stuff. There was a prayer, and I've talked about this before, but there was a prayer that was kind of maybe going to come from Theater of Blood, I believe.
yeah, Judgment.
Judgment, yep. And it was level 85, I believe. But
Yeah, and it was an overhead.
they had their own idea for the overhead. I disagreed with that. I thought it would be cool if there was a level 85 prayer called Judgment that was strictly 50% accuracy on any style. But that was it. There's no damage. There's no defense, anything. It's just a prayer that you use to hit your specs or to do anything else. It's 50% buff on accuracy. Like, what do you think of that?
That'd be interesting. I mean, as long as like the DPS calcs check out and piety is still better.
Oh, yeah, no. It would
Overall,
be better, but it would explicitly be just for specking, basically. Like,
yeah, because I mean, specs can be a brick wall. Like if you've seen any speedrun stuff, you get to Ulm and hit 0 specs, or like you get to like Dark Beast or a Sodasig, TOB, or really anywhere that you're specking, and or Nightmare, like some a regular Nightmare used to Dragon Warhammer in teams at least like one spec, and you miss it, and it's like, dude, you're like sitting there in full Inquisitors, like full
I
crush,
know.
and like you just miss. Or I mean, even Corp, for example, like I
Exactly.
think,
This is why I think it's a cool idea and a really valuable prayer that could come out. And it's
I
not even OP. It's just it has its niche,
yeah,
you know.
I think that that's probably a better solution than the old one. Is the old one, since it was an overhead, I think people probably wouldn't even want it to pass because good flickers are just gonna be like you putting that on and then flicking like the prayer to when they get attacked.
Yeah, that
So they
wait,
flick
oh
like
yeah, you
mage
could have
prayer or
used it
whatever.
in conjunction with
Yeah,
piety, correct?
yeah. So you just use it at the same time, and you pretty much camp it, and then you would just like lazy flick your like protect mage or whatever, or melee or
Yeah,
whatever you,
that's
like
a little
style.
cringe in my opinion.
So I mean, flicking is so big nowadays that like I think it wouldn't really work out that well, just because like the really good but then again, maybe that's the skill gap aspect to it, but
Yeah.
people would just end up doing that instead when it's an overhead. Um, I don't know if you want to move on to some of the other like smaller rewards from next too.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
But there's like the blood essence. I mean, I'm not an iron, so I don't really like.
I'm not a fan of that at
Uh,
all
yeah,
actually.
well, no iron is a fan, and I think that like, why don't they just add the blood packs that everyone's been asking about? Like, someone even proposed like make the blood packs really expensive too, like 500 GP, just so it doesn't devalue like the ones you get uh from RCing.
So
So like if you're main, at least you wouldn't buy them just because you can buy them on the GE for like 400 or whatever.
so this
So
isn't
making them like a little bit more just to buy the pack.
yeah, so I have an
Uh,
unpopular opinion and I'm actually against Shopscape. But they can do something about the blood rune issue, and that is, I mean, they had a proposal for this rune crafting mini game that was going to come out with the blood talisman, and that blood talisman is going to unlock the true blood altar underneath Mauritania, and I think that is the best place to have like an increase of blood runes come in. And I know, like, here's the thing about blood rune packs is like it just turns Iron Men into mains. It's like, just really, like, you're just gonna let us buy? It's basically
well,
just having a store. I mean, it's just like having a GE almost. Like,
doesn't the blood essence kind of fill in that like kind of blood talisman type thing that you were talking about? Because this
well,
gives you like the additional blood runes. I mean, I don't know what the calcs would be like, but for that, like, what if you're like 99 at the like blood altar and you get
yeah.
like
Well,
two blood runes per or something?
I think the reason I'm against the blood essence, I'm not completely against having this sort of effect, but I don't think it should be limited to blood. I think it should just be any rune crafting altar. Of course, everyone would probably use it to bloods regardless, but you know, they're basically spirit flakes for rune crafting. This is exactly what they're proposing, except it's just for bloods. Nothing will ever beat buying out blood runes. You can buy 200,000 bloods an hour on an Iron Man effectively. You can't do it all at once, but like that's the effective rate if you just wanted to go ham buying bloods. And I don't think having blood rune packs is a solution. I just feel like if you're an Iron Man, you just have to suck it up and buy your blood runes and at 50 a time in hop worlds. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not an Iron Man, so I can't really like input much into that because I'll just buy them on the GE.
No, like
Like I have like a million blood runes. I don't really care.
there's a
I accidentally put 800,000 blood runes in my scythe fountain thing because I didn't realize what I was doing. So I'm just like, I
yeah.
just left them there. I'm like,
No,
whatever.
and there's a bunch of Iron Men that are super like just PVM oriented. They don't care really about much else. They just want the blood rune packs. And I totally agree. Blood rune packs would be awesome, but there's a better way to go about it that's more balanced for the actual game rather than just focusing every single thing on PVM. How can I do PVM right now, right now, right now? Give me everything I want right now. Like, it's just silly to me. I don't feel like
Yeah.
blood rune packs are a healthy solution. But then again, that's my opinion. There's a ton of Iron Men that totally disagree with that and hate me for even
I,
saying that.
I think that at least with the blood essence thing, Zaya RC is so AFK that using that, like, you can just AFK on mobile or whatever, or zero time your blood runes if you like really wanted to. So I think that like this could almost be better than the Blood Talisman altar thing, because I don't know if that would be as AFK as the RC. So at least like this is something that you do while you're like eating food, or I don't know what irons do when they're AFK, but I'd probably just go straight doing blood runes at that point. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about the ancient brew?
Ancient Brew's cool. So I'm looking at it right now. It's a combination of Nile dust and dwarfweed. I do okay.
I think it's dumb.
I understand why they're doing it with a dwarfweed, because there's so many fucking dwarfweeds in the game that are dirt cheap. But it also doesn't make thematic sense, because I thought lantidimes were the things that make mage pots. So to me, the lore doesn't make any sense why this works, but whatever. I'm okay with it.
I remember like I read it and I read Ancient Brew and I'm like, oh shit, did we get like a new brew that's like, because in RS3 they have like Super Brew or something like that, or I forgot what it's called,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's like better. Then they have like 8 dose or 6 dose ones.
Yeah.
And so I thought this one was gonna be an upgrade, and then I look at it and I'm like, dude, this just fills the gap between Magic Pot and then Heart. It's like Heart, you're just gonna use that, and it drains your attack, strength, and defense. So it's like, bruh, like I don't know. I think it's just useless in my
No, it
opinion.
is useless. It reminds me of a Zammy brew. It's just
Zammy
like,
Brew is not useless, but I mean it's pretty much useless. But it's
yeah, I
actually
mean
like,
it's the same thing
yeah,
with this. It's like it's pretty much useless, but there is a niche to it.
yeah,
Like that's what it is. And so I almost feel like it's an herb lore update for Iron Man rather than an actual use of something you're gonna bring everywhere. But I will say, if you're an Iron Man or if you're anybody without an imbued heart, this potion will be really nice for just if you're exclusively maging something.
yeah. I mean, I guess the imbued heart is actually pretty rare. Like even going for 99 Slayer, I think it's still pretty unlikely that you get one. So
Yeah, it is.
um, I mean, I got lucky and got one, but then again, I'm not an iron, so I think, like you said, it kind of fills that gap for them at least, because if you get 99 Slayer, you're probably just gonna want a PVM, and you're not gonna want to have to try and hunt down a heart.
Yep.
So, um, and then going to like the ecumenical key shards, I think that the KC system just needs to get scrapped for next. I think that's kind of dumb to lock that behind it, because at least for like it's just gonna punish irons and everyone else that doesn't alt, because I don't know how they're gonna introduce an anti-alting thing, because all the good players with the alt are just gonna sit there and camp like 5 alts outside of next, and then with the KC all ready to give you
It's
your
gonna be a
stuff.
it's gonna be a
And
nightmare
it's like,
2.0.
yeah, so I don't know. I think that they should just like let the ceremony, or the ancient ceremonial robes have their effect that they had back in the day. Uh, so you have to get KC until you get them, and then you can skip the KC part at least. I
That
think
is a
that's way
cool.
better.
I think that's healthy. Yeah.
That's what they did back in the day. Is if you wear the whole set, you can just walk straight into next.
I think that's a
Uh,
great idea.
so but the set you have to get from killing the demi bosses at next, so it will kind of punish irons because they can't just buy the set; they have to actually get the set.
Yeah.
But they can make it like not insanely rare, so irons aren't like super punished. And then like obviously you still have to get KC at the beginning when you're first learning the boss, but once you get the set, you can
I think that's
skip on
perfect.
through.
Yeah.
I think they were talking about binning the bank in between the minion room and the next boss, but I think they should keep the bank there, because that just punishes people without alts and irons and stuff as well. So it's like you said, another nightmare. So
That is great
I
insight.
I
I
I
didn't even
think they
think of
should
that.
keep I think they should keep the bank there, because they were talking about deleting it. Um, but I think the bank is fine how it is. Because I mean, you want to bank your ancient robes, all your other baloney stuff, and then gear up. So
I think that's perfect. Yeah. I didn't even
yeah.
think of that. I don't think of things like that, but I'm glad there are people that think of what is actually going to be the issues here, and I think that
Well,
would
I
solve it.
mean, I do a little bit of everything besides iron, so like I know the benefits of altscape. I know the like benefits of not having altscape and stuff. So, or not the benefits, but the downsides. So it's
Yeah.
like even though it won't affect me personally, I know there's going to be a lot of people that have problems with it, and I'm thinking of more like everyone in general and stuff. And yeah.
Absolutely. I think that would be really good.
Um, what else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about like pet hunting and stuff a little bit, but
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know. I don't know if you want to wrap up the raids 3 and next because I
yeah,
feel like we
well,
probably
we've been
we went
talking for over 2.5 hours. We haven't even
yeah
touched
we went
Twitter
in quite
topics
a
yet.
yeah we kind of went a lot of in depth with my history of PVMing raids in general, all the next and TOA. I think we touched quite a bit of topics in terms of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, let's move on.
I don't know. Um, I guess one thing before we go away from that, this is kind of like a brag, but at one point I had the highest rates 1 KC, the highest rates 2 KC, and the fastest rates 1 and the fastest rates 2 at the same time.
Jesus
So
Christ.
I know that's kind of like a kind of like a brag, but I just thought that that'd be some people
No, yeah,
might
some
not
people
like.
don't know about you, so
Yeah, so
yeah.
but that was like way back in the day, like 2018. So
So here, but before we move on, then I'll ask this: what's your plan for raids 3? Are you going to go ham as fuck or what?
um uh I it's such a hard thing because with work and stuff.
Yeah,
I was thinking about taking at least 1 week off, but that'd probably be the hardest that I go. And obviously, like, I don't do anything outside of work, so I'd probably um, end up just playing. But the rough thing for me is like I'd probably have a team for that week, but if I'm not going to be on as much as my team, they might get different teammates. That's kind
yep,
of what happens to me a lot lately. Is like I've been getting pretty much binned everywhere just because I don't play as much as everyone else.
yeah,
So it's like they don't want to be stuck waiting for me. But at least with TOA, they said it's like up to teams of 8, and they said that the loot might scale like raids 1, so you might not be punished for having 8 people, uh, which can be nice. I think that was kind of one of the downsides of TOB releases. So many people got binned from teams because you had to 5-man at the beginning at least. Like if you trioed or 4-man, it was so hard and almost impossible. So then they like dumbed down the scaling and stuff, and so maybe my team will do 7-man when I'm not on, and then I'll hop in for 8-man or whatever. But
mm.
yeah, I don't know. I think that's a tricky spot because a lot of the people that I play with, they don't currently have jobs like I do, or they don't work full time, so it's
IRL
like they have more
obligations.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, the IRL obligations. So it's like I'm kind of like stuck in that boat.
yeah.
Um,
No, I mean,
so yeah, I don't know.
that kind of sucks, but
I mean,
I think you'll
I
still
still
go relatively hard.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I still go as hard as I can in terms of like trying to like push for faster times and stuff currently, but it's more so not having enough free time to do stuff.
Yep.
Like the longest I get to play is on a weekend, and I'll play for like 10 or 12 hours on like Saturday, Sunday, and all the other days I get to play for like 3 or 4 hours. So
Yeah.
it's kind of stuck there. Hard mode TOB, I didn't have any time off, or I didn't request any time off because I was like, okay, this isn't really anything like worthy of me spending my PTO. So, like the first 3 days, I couldn't even get a team because like my team was already in a team, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Hard mode Tob was just underwhelming,
yeah.
and the holy scythe
Uh,
looks like garbage.
and then since I've been talking about my work and stuff, so people don't like, they might wonder, what I do for work. I'm in the commercial flooring industry, and I assemble company logos or install company logos in carpet and other flooring materials. In like commercial size, where we send them out on site to be like inset or like seamed into the floor.
Mm.
So we do like schools, sports events. We do every single business and company you can think of, pretty much. Car dealerships, pretty much any kind of logo that you can think of any big company. We do that, and then we also do like luxury vinyl, laminate, hardwood, sheath vinyl. Yeah, pretty much everything. So yeah,
Interesting. Yeah.
more
So
like
do you
hands on. It's
it sounds
cool
like you
doing that.
enjoy it though, right? Like,
Oh yeah, it's really fun. I mean, especially doing the logos. We get some really cool like school logos. We're always doing different stuff. The artwork is cool to do. Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, we've done the LeBron James Nike logo for Nike.
oh
Uh,
shit.
we've done the Seahawks locker room, their football team for Washington. We've done other sports like logos and stuff. Done like car dealerships, like Ford. We did like Mustang logos. We did, yeah, pretty much anything you can think of. So it's actually pretty cool. Some of
Damn,
the like big companies that we work with.
that's sick. Honestly, like, yeah. So what got you into that? I'm just curious. Like, was that?
Um,
That's just yeah. That's random. It's like random to me, but like I don't know. How do you even get into that? That's
I mean, I have like I guess I have like connections in the flooring industry, so that's kind of how I
mm,
got into it. Um, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know if I really have a reason why. But I mean, I respect the industry quite a bit and like construction in general. So it's like, I might not be like, a work from home person that does tech stuff, but I work on like in a hands-on industry that, manual labor and you respect like the craftsmanship behind anything that like gets handmade and whatnot. And
yeah,
um, just like construction and stuff in general, building things.
interesting.
So,
That
and then
is cool.
we actually do get the tech side because we have to do the artwork. We have to plot it out and stuff, and like change the measurements and measure everything. And uh, some people want stuff to like the exact like 0.001 of an inch and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So, yeah.
interesting. Here, let's I have a Twitter topic I'm looking at that'll kind of lead us into the next thing, but Luke is asking which pets are top of the list to get right now, and also just what are the best pets in the game in your eyes?
That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to switch topics earlier is because I actually wanted to talk about pet hunting a little bit because I've been doing mainly that lately when I'm not reading, and that's kind of a good topic. Right now I'm going for BA and BH. Um, I'm at 35 pets out of 48, so I'm kind of at that point where the list is getting down on things that I can do, and BA and BH are such long hour pets. Like they're literally like they make up for I think like 30 or 40% of all pets.
Jesus Christ.
So in terms of time, I'm pretty sure it's at least 30%. Especially with Corp being boostable and stuff nowadays. So it's like I've been going hard on both of those, doing clues like you were saying earlier. Where I'm almost 1,000 master clue KC. Well, not almost. I'm like 680 or something, but we're getting up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two are the pets that I've been going for. Say some of my favorite pets in the game. I like the Garg Boss pet. It's really cool, like graphical pet. I like the Omelet with the dust. Same with
Yeah.
TOB with the dust.
I fucking wish I had the
Uh,
dusts and the
yeah,
pets.
both of those are like some of the best pets just because of the morphs. Um, Let me see if I can find a pet list so I can look at all the pets to see which other ones I like.
If you're logged
I
in game, you can just look at the all pet.
No, I'm not.
Hmm.
I didn't want to log in because I didn't want to like be distracted while we're
Yeah.
talking. So I've just been like looking at like things like topics and stuff that we're talking about just so I don't get like distracted. Because
I'm at 8
at
with full
first,
agility.
yeah,
Trying to get a
at
collection log.
first, yeah, at first I was thinking about doing the keys that I've been doing lately,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I didn't want to do that because I'd probably get distracted and like focus on doing that.
Yeah, doing the
Especially if I
tick
was doing
manipulation.
yeah. Um, Looking at the list now, I mean Vedion Pet's pretty cool. Same with Corp. Um,
What is the best pet? If you could only
the
have one.
best omelet with the dust, if that counts as one.
Yeah. I think
So
Nibbler just barely surpasses it, but I think I think actually Dusted Verzik is better than
yeah,
Dusted Omelet slightly.
that's probably actually better, but I don't have it, so I can't.
Yeah.
I only have Verzik itself. But yeah, I think that's probably almost better, just because like the walking soda sag and bloat and
Yeah.
all of them look pretty cool. Besides Maiden.
I
Um,
do like the little Vespula though I think Vespula is my favorite transmog of Omelet.
the walking or the
I
flying.
think the flying one's better actually.
Yeah. I think
The
the walking's kind of weird. They came out with that and it's like no one ever sees it walking, so why would you like
I
have
I
it look
still
like that?
like it walking though because it's just so random. Like it's so you never see it. I think that's partly the reason I like it.
Uh I linked my pet sheet in the chat as well so you can see what I have,
Ooh,
but
okay, let's see this.
I recently, well, I guess not recently, a couple months ago, I finished all skilling pets. I set out a goal that for me to not burn out, I needed to grind out all the skilling pets. Which I guess will lead me to another topic is, are you familiar with the Wintertodt hopping method?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's super popular now, but I was actually the person who created that method, like a year and a half or 2 years ago. People might have been doing it a little bit, but not as efficiently as how I optimized it. So I did that on top of another method, and I was getting 90 to 105 Wintertodt pet rolls an hour.
Wow.
So if you think about that, I think right now the meta is like 48 or 50. I
Yeah, I
think
think
you
it's
created the solo one right now, but yeah.
Yeah,
The meth-
or there's like the Wintertodt hopping one with the scouter that everyone uses now, and then
yeah.
there's like the point one where you just make a bunch of those
Yes, so
potions.
when I first developed the method, obviously there wasn't the scouter, so I would have an alt in all the worlds and figure it out. And then also I did something that's super toxic and a lot of people are gonna hate on. I crashed soloers.
Yeah, that's
People
the best
probably
points per hour. That is.
yeah, I got so many DMs. People were like hating on me. Like they found my stream and they were like talking shit in my DMs and stuff. We're like, "Fuck you, you have no life, this and that." And it was so funny.
No, that is the
Uh,
best points per hour though, right
it
there.
is. I mean, that's how I got over 100. That's the only way to get over 100 is to crash soloers.
God damn.
I'm pretty sure it's the record fastest Wintertodt. It's 1 minute and 42 seconds for full points.
Jesus
That was
Christ.
that was when I optimized crashing them. I'd even bring in an alt, so right when I hit 500 points, I just end the game like instantly. So yeah,
Oh my God.
I mean, it was toxic, but I mean, I was going for the pet, so
Respect. No, but
that's
that's horribly toxic. I would fucking hate you if you did that to me, but at the same time
so
you gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'd even like when the worlds aren't always lined up, the mass worlds. So when they weren't, I would just go around crashing people and getting the sub two
I
minute
like you.
games
I mean, I'm glad you're so transparent about it. That's how you.
and
That's at least people understand why. Instead of this thinking you're a total asshole doing it without reason.
yeah.
Like,
But I mean, if you think about it, that's actually insane. 100, like 90 to 105. Like
yeah, that's
90 was the
fucked.
minimum that I was getting. Um, it was pretty crazy. I mean, that's like over 100% time increase or like time decrease versus
Yeah.
how it is now because it's like 48 or something. So it's literally like a 50-hour pet. I brought along like a couple friends. Like I let them leech off of my method when I was doing it, and even Coxie was able to get his the same way. Um, but yeah, that one was interesting. Mining pet, I created a 2+2 VM method. That one was really good. Obviously, it's still not as good as gem rocks, but I mean, who wants the 4-tick gem rocks? So pretty sure it's 4-tick.
Yeah,
I don't
14.
think you can 3-tick them.
I wish you
I mean,
could. They really should change it
it
so
was
you
like
can.
it was like 10 hours slower than that, but like VM's completely AFK if you're doing it right. So it was, and the method, you're getting like 110 to 120k XP per hour at VM. Isn't that pretty crazy?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
that. I
yeah,
mean,
that
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 actually
that
starts
like
involving effort, though. I feel like to get
no, the way I was doing it, it was like AFK.
really,
I
but
mean, it's a little bit of effort, like maybe for 30 seconds out of the 10 minutes,
mm,
but it's pretty AFK. I
yeah,
actually like I had some 200 mil all people get so happy about it that like they started paying me and I'd be the two alts in the team for them and there'd be two of them.
damn.
Uh because
And
like
then
they
they would just
instead
chill
of
there and get max XP rates,
yeah, they would
basically.
literally AFK and I would do the other roles on the alts. And I mean, I'd still be chilling. Like I think I was like 3 ticking chins at the same time while doing that for them. And I was getting paid. So I'm like, they were literally chilling. And I mean, obviously it's not as good as 3-tick 4G because I think that's like 130k or something.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's pretty close for just literally
no effort.
AFKing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
No,
was
and
another
I
cool
think,
method that,
see, I think that's kind of cool how, like, you do need a little bit of the effort with the alts, but you could also just pay somebody to do that for you, and then it's almost like a buyable of just AFK.
Yeah, and for the rich people, they don't really care about the GP, so
Yeah, like, and
it's
I
like,
actually find methods like that, especially like rune crafting, running, like things like that is
hmm
actually healthy for the game to have those ways to just
yeah,
spend a shit ton of gold.
yeah.
So
But yeah, those are like some of the two more like iconic pets that I had to actually come up with my own methods to do, and I think that's actually pretty cool that the Wintertodt one is like such like a big method in game now that like I don't think people really know where it came from.
yeah.
So,
Okay, here I have a question for you. What makes it so appealing for a maxed player to get into pet hunting, or they want to get into pet hunting until they realize how many how much time and effort it
uh,
takes? But like, what is that causes people to just want to go for pets instantly?
boredom. I
That
don't
has
know.
to
It's
be it,
like,
right? I mean, but
yeah, it's. I mean, the only reason why I started doing it is because like I don't like. I mean, I prefer to raid, but I can't always raid. So
okay, here's
uh,
just
it's kind of something to do on the side, and
kind of going along with that. Have okay, so me, I maxed, and then I wanted to start pet hunting, kind of, and I burned out of it pretty fucking quickly because it wasn't where my true passion was to pet hunt, and I realized there's some pet grinds that are going to suck ass. What are
yeah.
what are the worst pet grinds for you?
Um,
Like, okay, what's
that's
the what's the
a
what is the
gauntlet pet for
worst?
sure. Gauntlet pet.
Is
I
that
do
the
not like
worst for you?
gauntlet. I think so. I mean, I can't really think of any other ones. Most of the other ones are ultible, so they're not as bad. I mean, Garg Boss pet, pretty bad. It's a good pet, but it's bad to get, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
Garg
Like, who
bosses.
wants to do Garg Boss?
Yeah.
Skilling pets, probably, because I'm a PvMer. Like, my last skilling pet was Chinchampa pet, and I got it at 71 million XP. So
Fuck.
it was like such a sign of relief after I got it, because then I'm done with skilling. I can PvM forever. Don't have to touch skilling again until they come out with some
71
other
mil.
skilling boss. But um, I think like since you're saying that you burned out, I don't know if you ever set any like discipline goals or anything where you're like, okay, I need to, get all skilling pets, and then that kind of like will give you motive. I mean, obviously, it's like you can get demotivated while going for that grind, but after it's over, it's like you can PVM and do whatever.
I think for me, I
So
just had different priorities. Like,
yeah, I
I
mean, if you
wanted to
had
do clues. That was
yeah, as an iron too, if you're like missing items or something, like you're probably gonna
yes.
want to do that. So,
Yep.
um, but yeah, when I was going into it, I was dreading quite a bit of things, but it's actually quite a bit of variety of content. Sarachnis, I didn't like that, but back then there wasn't really the alting method that there is nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But that's mainly for main, not an iron.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gauntlet Pet. I mean, I went over rate for that, and I was just like, I said that like an hour before I got it, I said I'm quitting RS if I go 1,000 dry, and then I got it like an hour later. So, like if you look at the thing Volcano, I mean, Volcano is not too bad for a
Fuck.
little bit of
Nope.
KC,
Nope.
but
Fuck
do,
Volcano.
do you see the KC though? 7,000, like dude, it was
Wait. Wait. Wait.
Volcano.
Wait.
It was
Wait. 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 Wait.
7,000 Volcano. I got my pet.
Bro.
It
Fuck
was, that was
that.
pain.
I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just looked you up. God, that is like actual hell. What
Oh, well,
method did you do? Did you just
I
do
linked
masses or what?
the pet sheet as well. Oh yeah, so Volcano is another thing that I kind of had like a role at hand with that boss. So I did masses, but I was also actually the person that got them to change the pet rate for Volcano. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the old pet rate of Volcano, but it used to scale, like it wasn't the static pet rate,
Mm.
and it was so baloney that um, we even had calcs for it to show like how baloney it gets in terms of like how long it can get depending on the scaling and how much damage you do. So I got them to change it to a static rate of 2,250.
Yeah, it looks like
Before it
it's
went
about that. Yeah.
yeah, before it went from like 2,000 to 3,000, so it's like in between, and it was really baloney because like you want to do masses to do faster kills, but then you also get less damage, so you're more towards the 3,000 range depending on your damage. Um, and like the calcs were like it was I think 110 or 120 hour pet, So I got them to kind of meet in the middle ground and at least have a static number.
Yeah.
So that was a nice thing
Nice.
to have.
The thing that
Yeah,
pisses
I
me
mean,
off is the tool seeds. I know it doesn't matter for a main, but for an iron, when it's a 1 in 200 for any team size,
mhm.
masses just become like so stupid.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, we have a lot of or when I was doing it, there was a lot of irons coming in. I'm like, if you need tools, you should probably do small teams.
Yeah.
It wasn't always like that though. They changed that to
I
combat like
know.
vennies
No,
and
it's
gold
so
farmers.
dumb. It's so dumb.
Um,
That was not the reason why it was being camped the fuck out of. The unique was never the
yeah,
issue.
yeah, and then they changed Onyx as well. But yeah, the tool seed, it was probably fine how it was. Like it was like masses were still good the old way because like it didn't matter. Like it wasn't just 1 in
Hmm.
200. Everyone had their own role. So I think that like they kind of screwed over irons and stuff in that aspect.
It was really
Um,
bad too. They had to fix it. So if they made an update where the tool seed was actually like 1 in fucking 6,000 or something, like something insane. I can't remember what it was. It was like 1 in, I don't know. I think it was something weird, like 1 in 1,500 or something. And then if you were in a 4-man, it was like 1 in 6,000. I can't fully remember, but it was really fucked.
yeah, yeah, it gets pretty bad, and especially in masses. So
Yeah.
it's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I've been doing I've been doing clues in BA. I started getting into selling BA leeches lately because that's the best for pet. So I've been making some GP from that, and then also I've been gaining like a lot of pet rolls. I'm already at like 160 something pet rolls out of 1,000, and like 100 of those I did in like 3 or 4 days because I've just been like selling so many
Sheesh.
leeches. So that's been pretty good lately. Before I was doing casual BA and like selling leeches, the run times are about the same, and like you just go like to the next round right away. In casual BA, they like spend 5 minutes between each round usually, and it can be pretty rough. So
Okay, so you're a
that's pretty
BA
nice.
enthusiast. There seems to be this uh, culture where anything that comes out into the game that changes BA in any way, the BA community freaks out.
Yeah, the BA communities, like they're pretty big, but they're like they stick to BA. So like that new bow, like pretty much breaks BA. Like the attack roll is gonna be like insanely easy with that new bow. You're just gonna AFK pretty much. So it's gonna change the meta quite a bit.
Are they happy
BA
about
is
that, or are they
no,
pissed?
I think they're some people are happy because they think third age bow shouldn't be best in slot at BA, which it currently is.
Yeah.
But then some people are mad because they think it's gonna like take away some of the skill. Like BA is actually like so many people think it's just a casual mini game, but that is actually like super strategic, and there's so many like I still don't understand everything there. There's so many different stalls and forces and this and that, saving a tick here, saving a tick there, and like there's so many different like codes and different
Yeah.
like languages that they use there, and it's crazy. The like
It,
just getting involved in there recently as a noob,
it's
like
like it's like similar to Nilo, where Nilo looks simple, and then you start breaking it down. You're like, what the fuck?
yeah, it's exactly
But there's even more
it's
different weird stalls and stuff you can do.
yeah, it's like anyone could do it, but to do like speed runs there, like I wouldn't even be able to start doing speed runs because you're at like a disadvantage compared to the people who have been doing it for years because they know like every single stall and when the waves are supposed to end and this and that, and it's pretty crazy. Um, but yeah, after BA and BH, I pretty much have Sarah, DKs, and then just Slayer. So after BA and BH, I'm like so close to all pets in terms of hours. Like most of the other pets are like 30-hour pets.
Yeah.
Besides like Sarah and Hydra are like 100-hour pets, but everything else is like 50 hours or less.
Okay, so what is after all pets?
Probably just stay doing raids and
Oh, I thought you said
doing
steak.
whatever. No, no, no. I meant like I was gonna say like staying back at PVM, but that didn't make sense. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
just like going back to raids or just doing whatever, just not play. Well, I wouldn't say not playing, but
There'll be new content by that point, hopefully.
yeah,
Hopefully,
I
Raid 3
mean,
will have a long
for
term.
me, because of the hours that I get to play, like all pets isn't really like super realistic. Although I'm kind of close. It just there's so many hours left that there's gonna be new content by then, and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Raids 3 pet, next pet. There's going to be
yeah.
more pets
So
as well. So,
yeah, there's gonna be quite a bit of other things.
okay. This is a little random question from a cold one. Jersey Mike's, Steak and Shake, Popeyes. If you could only have one of these, which would it be? And I have to bring up, there's another guy, Hunt, who said Raising Cane's over everything.
I've never even had Raising Cane's, so I don't even know.
Raising Cane's
I don't think I've...
gold. It's
Is
amazing.
that like the Popeyes competitor, kind of?
It's better. Okay, have you ever been to Zaxby's?
No.
Okay, that's like a southern thing. I don't. Yeah, no, it's way better than Popeyes in my opinion. Raising Cane's is like pure quality.
I think that his question's kind of weird because he lists 3 different places that like aren't really competitors.
Yeah.
So it's like if you'd say like Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's, and Subway, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But like, I've never had Steak and Shake. I don't think I've had ones that are like similar to that are like have similar names, but I don't know. I feel like that's not even a question. I mean, Jersey Mike's is just like the way of life. There is no like other way.
See, I've only had Jersey Mike's once, and it was pretty shit. But I think it was a basic sand. Well, I didn't order it. Somebody else ordered it, and it was just like really basic, and I wasn't that big of a fan of it. So I mean, I've only had it once. It was just like ham and cheese and tomato and lettuce or something. Like
yeah, it's pretty basic, but like the quality of their ingredients is way better than other like sub shops and stuff. I don't know. Maybe the one that you went to wasn't like didn't have like good quality stuff. I mean, it is basic. Like that is literally what it is. It's just like if you want tomatoes, you have to ask. Wait, no, they put tomatoes. If you want pickles, you have to ask. Or if you want like some other stuff, you have to ask. But if you go in there, always say you want it Mike's way.
What does that
do?
Jersey
they put on like vinegar and stuff and olive oil.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, I always ask for like bacon as well on it, or like if you get their Philly cheese, it's pretty decent. But I like their I think it's called like the American. It's just ham and cheese, but like their quality of ingredients is a lot better. I mean, if you say that their shit, do you think Subway and like Jimmy John's or any other like what sub shops do you go to?
No, I don't think Jersey Mike's is shit. I just didn't see it. Maybe I said that. I meant just very basic. But Subway, I don't like. I don't like Subway. I think it's really shitty quality.
I will never go to Subway. Like I'd rather like Subway is super low tier. I mean, Jersey Mike's is still fast food type thing, but like that's like the higher tier of sub shops in my opinion. Like Jersey Mike's is just a way of life.
So I used to get Jimmy John's, but then I used to get Jimmy John's probably 3 times a week in college, just delivered to me. And then
so you like Jimmy John's?
Yeah, like I like the simple subs, but I got food poisoning from them, so I hate it now.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah, so Jersey Mike's is like one step above Jimmy John's. So like there's Subway and then Jimmy John's is above that and then above that is Jersey Mike's.
Okay.
So like I mean, we have local sub shops that are way better than Jersey Mike's, but like for a chain, like that's just like the peak of subs. I don't know. It's the reason why he asked that is because I'm like a Jersey Mike's enthusiast. It's kind of like a meme in my stream and stuff.
Well, shit. Maybe I'll have to give it another chance because again, I've had it once. So
yeah, if you like the Jimmy John's, like Jersey Mike's is way better. Just like the quality. I mean, it's basic, but like
I like
have
the
all
basic.
that shit that Subway has, but it's way better. It's just good quality stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question from Strider. He says, how do you feel about adding more bosses to the game with no uniques, but simply offer an alternative to Vorkath as a moneymaker? Would be nice to see more content and not get the community stirred up about power creep. Lock it behind DS2, even for integrity or whatever.
And I think that's weird. I'm not, well, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they like took revs out for a reason just to like replace it with some boss that just gives you like alchemist and GP and stuff. So
yeah, I like bosses. First of all, I've actually never been a fan of bosses that shit out gold. I think it's always cool that bosses have uniques. In fact, I'm so Iron Man minded that I actually don't like how the source of an item, okay, like a skilling item, like if you wanted gold ore, the source or the fastest way to get it is not through the source, which is really dumb in my opinion. Or chopping a magic tree is never the fastest way to get magic logs, you know. There's always some boss that shits it out more, so
yeah, I remember back in the day, like you didn't like irons had to do a lot of skilling, and now like they can
PVM
just
for everything.
They just PVM for everything.
You can max through PVMing. Like you can get all your other skills done through PVM. It's crazy.
And it's almost faster too to like do certain bosses for that. So
more fun too.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not opposed to more bosses, but I think I like the thing where it's like you're doing a boss for like that good reward, and you're
Yes,
like not really getting much of a reward until you get that.
I agree.
So I like that aspect to it more. I have a question as well that someone asked if you want me to
Yeah, go
bring it
for it.
up. So someone said, I'd love to hear you touch on the use of OP clients in the speedrun community, socket, OPTOB plugins, as well as touch on selling Grandmaster times or raid
Ooh,
times. I
yeah,
mean,
let's
we
go
already
into it.
talked about plugins a little bit, but I mean, I kind of already talked about like how I am like not a fan. Like, I mean, that's the reason why I stopped doing TOB speedruns is I can't compete because of plugins. And that's the thing about CMs is like there is plugins, but their quality of life and they don't like they don't make it or break it.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Here, I want to touch on the services ish, and I want to first kind of talk about Infernal Cape buying and selling. Your thoughts on that, and then talking about selling Grandmaster stuff.
mhm.
So what were your thoughts? Let's say if they've changed over time, but what do you think about buying and selling Infernal Capes
um I
back in
think that
2017 and now?
I think it's still not cool to do that. I mean, obviously that's kind of weird coming from I mean, let me be straight. I don't do a login service for the Grandmaster times, so that's like a little different. But for like, so I just wanted to get that out there before I start talking shit about capes and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think that like Infernal Cape, like if it was tradable, okay, whatever. But like since it's untradeable, it's like that iconic item that like makes you look like a good PVMer. Although you don't need to be a good PVMer anymore to do it. Uh, I think that you still need to be able to do it yourself. And that's it's now saying that, like, going back to the Grandmaster stuff, the people still actually have to be pretty decent at raids. I mean, obviously, me and my teammates were, like, really good enough to, like, it doesn't matter if you're, like, super trash, but you still have to be able to, like, participate in the raid.
Yeah.
So they're still kind of like even though they're pretty much buying a team rather than buying I mean they are buying the time but like it's not a login service so it's more like buying people's time to come help you since
Yeah.
you don't have a team or friends or whatever or say you spent too many attempts as an iron or something like um I mean you still have to know what you're doing
Yeah, and the
because there
fact if
is a role that you
if
have
you're
to play.
going for Grandmaster anyway, you would have to do all the
Yeah,
solo challenges by yourself,
yeah.
regardless to show it. So
Yeah, exactly. I think the reason why people need to buy a time and why we started offering it is, especially for irons, like 5-man CM is probably the hardest grandmaster. Besides perfect TOB, it's probably the hardest grandmaster time, just because of how CMs work with prepping and irons and all that stuff. Like, I've only heard of a couple iron teams that have gotten it as a full iron team, and they spent hours, like they spent multiple attempts doing it. Whereas if you come to us, it's just one and done. Boom, done.
I used your service, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was simple. So shout out. We'll have it
Yeah,
probably linked in the description if you guys are needing some help with the 5-man speeds.
yeah,
Again,
we've
not a login service, and that is the difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference there. I mean, it's like selling torsos at BA. Like, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
that's different because they're straight AFK. So I mean, you still have to like,
Yeah. You still
like
have
I
to
mean, if you're
participate
going
in
for
the
the
raid.
yeah, you still have to participate, but like, so you still have to be decent. And obviously, why would you buy the time if you're not good enough to get the other grandmaster
Yeah.
times? So it's like, it's not like you're I don't know. I feel like some people might get hate, but I feel like that we've been doing so many. We've done over 100 people lately, so it's like it seems like it's not as like people can't really hate against it just because I think everyone has kind of accepted how hard it is to get for an iron lately.
It's literally doing any team task though. Like with
Yeah,
Theater of Blood, I'm not paying anyone to do it, but I still have to like basically beg somebody to come help me. Like
yeah.
you have to get people to do it.
Um,
You can't do everything solo. So
and I think that our like reviews kind of speak for themselves. Like everyone that we've done so far, they're like super happy with. They're like one and done. Like some of the people they said that they were irons and they spent like 5 hours of attempts and they didn't even get close to the time just because it's so hard to get.
it's just
In
because
in a team of five.
you guys are
So
coordinated. You guys know what you're doing, and you make it
yeah,
very simple for the person who's there
Yeah.
to be like, here's the potions you make. This is like where
Yeah.
you need to be at this point. Like that's the
Yeah,
beauty of it.
we have like a clear. I think since we did YouTube, we kind of made our guide even more user friendly. So it's super user friendly. I'm constantly checking up on the people. Like if we're at Vanguards, I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Like, do you have any questions? Like if we're at Ice Team and they're doing seconds or whatever they're doing, I'm always like every room. I'm like, okay, we finished Ice Team in. We're going into this room. How are you doing? Or I'm like, oh, we're at Guardians. Where are you? And like we're always trying to check up and, let people,
Zero stress.
help people out. Yeah.
It was nice.
I mean, even with mistakes, we still get people the time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, but yeah, I mean, it feels weird, talking crap about infernal capes, but I think our login services are slightly different.
No, they're not even slightly different. They're
Well,
completely
yeah.
different.
Yeah, because
Like
that is like, you don't even have to be good to do a login service. At least with this, you still have to kind of hold your weight. I mean, obviously, you can be an anchor and we can still carry you, but
yeah. Okay,
you still
so
have to, yeah.
like here's one question. Back when services were actually like prevalent, I know people probably still do services, just more they don't publicize it anymore. But yeah, like what did you think, or what do you still think about login services and account sharing in general?
Um, I mean, I think account sharing is general is kind of fine. I mean, I can't. I mean, I don't want to talk crap about it because I mean, I kind of do that. Like, I've used friends' alts and stuff like that for certain things, but not like login services.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of weird because, like, at what point do you say like, "Oh, I'm just playing my friend's account," and, "Oh, I just got an infernal cape on my friend's account" or something like, uh,
Yeah.
it's kind of a weird like fine line in there. Like, where do you cross the boundary as you're just playing their account or you're doing services on their account? I think services are kind of lame because so many irons, and I mean, it's not. I don't want to single out irons, but it's usually them who like pay someone to like grind out a Dragon Warhammer on their account or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, I made a meme a while ago. It was like the Drake meme, and it was like irons getting the items themselves, and then he was like looking away, and then he's like puts his hand up or whatever. He's like irons that are doing services or something like that. It's like, I don't know, people.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
it
know.
was really. I mean, I'm glad that they kind of addressed it, but I think that they did like a bluff move, kind of like when they addressed plugins, and they're not actually.
They
I'm
can't
pretty.
enforce
They're
it. They
yeah,
just
there's still
threaten.
services that still go on. They're just not as like well known as they
Yeah.
are, or as they used to be. So yeah, I don't know. I obviously the people who are selling the services are smart. They're making tons of GP, but the sad thing about it is a lot of them are RWTing. So that's the only. I mean, I think the only reason why you should ever do services or boosting or anything is if you're trying to buy a new item, if you're trying to afford pet boosting yourself, if you're trying to afford 200 mil all. I just don't see a reason to do it outside of that.
Yeah.
And then another note on that is there's pet boosting, which is kind of like the Grandmaster boosting thing. Um, I mean, there's definitely still a difference between that and logging in on the person's account, but like, is that more acceptable than services? Um, I think it is, but everyone has their own opinion, and I think it's smart to buy pet boosting, like have someone like have 5 alts while you're doing bandos or whatever.
Yeah. Here's a good little question from Black Suns. He asks, speedrunning Cox, biggest tips for people getting into it. And I guess speedrunning in general, getting into it. Do you have any
Yeah.
He also says he's
I
a
don't know.
big fan.
Yeah, I have the thing open. It's so I don't know. I think it's hard to give people tips because it's like just because it's like that guide that we had for irons, that we carry for grandmasters. Like you can read the guide, but that doesn't mean that like that's gonna make you good.
Yep.
So I think lots of practicing like knowing where your inventory is gonna be at all times. That's a really big thing for any kind of speed run, like TOB, Cox. I don't know if how big it is in Inferno, but tracking your inventory where your items are gonna be.
Absolutely.
Because it's like if you get lost in your inventory, I remember my first time doing TOB after like a year, I on the Nilo boss, I like messed up a switch and I like got lost in my inventory. I was like, where are my items?
That
But
should
it's
happen
like,
all the time beginning TOB.
yeah.
Everyone can relate.
So I don't know. Like I always move my items around between rooms and stuff at like CM and TOB. Like I know where my items are gonna be. I'm prepared for what the next room's gonna be. Just knowing what's gonna be next. It's kind of hard to say. Just like don't miss ticks. I don't know. Picking up like small micro efficient things like when you're doing Ice Demon. Um, when you grab your axe, equip the axe. So then you don't have to grab the axe out of the bank. You can just bank with the same tick and start chopping. Um,
Ooh, that's genius.
that's a really big time save that some people don't know about. We didn't even know about it. For a while, we were banking the axe and then putting it in like the first inventory slot, so we know exactly where it's at.
Yeah.
Or I guess it would be the first would be yeah, and that like you automatically lose time is you can't one tick the chest.
Yep.
And then someone named Sido, we saw him doing it, or I think he suggested it to us. He's like, "Why don't you guys equip the axe?" And we're like, "Oh." And yeah, it's like way faster. I mean, that saves time. I mean, the biggest thing is just like I said, inventory management is one of the biggest things for speedruns.
Yeah. What are
I don't
your
know if you have any input on that or.
No, I mean, honestly, that's a big thing is just practice, 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 practice. You'll
Yeah,
never get good if you don't just send a fuck ton of them.
Yeah, it's hard to really give advice on that. Like maybe watch VODs of people that have done old records or new records. It's just hard to be like, do this, do that, because you need that personal experience to
Yep,
like
absolutely.
to get better in that repetition.
I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on combat achievements now that they've been out for a while? And what are your thoughts? Mainly, I want to talk about the rewards given from them, but also just the task difficulty in general.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of like on the lower tiers at least, there's a lot of random tasks that it's just like, dude. I mean even some of the Grandmaster tasks are just like, man, this is like such a hassle to do, but
Yeah, at least they're
I
one
don't-
and done. You're just like, just do it, and you never have to do it again. Like, but they are
yeah.
tedious as fuck. I do admit.
For me, I don't really have any plans on doing it. I mean, I'm kind of glad that there's not best in slot behind it because I mean, I'm not good at Inferno and I'd probably struggle at that one at least. I mean, that's not saying that I can't get good at Inferno, it's just that it doesn't interest me right now.
Yeah,
And
it's difficult.
I think that I don't know, I mean, I think there could be better rewards, but I don't know if there should necessarily be best in slot rewards behind it. Um, I know that you mentioned stuff about like the clue rewards aspect of it,
Yeah.
like the 5% or whatever, and I came up with like, or I made a proposal as well, to your thread or whatever. But I mean, obviously the rewards are kind of like right now, or they
Yeah,
definitely are like
they're
But I think it's
very.
more.
But
I
that's
think it's more of
fine.
something. Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, it's more of something to do to like challenge yourself rather than like, do
Get
you
a
really
best in
need?
slot from it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you really need like a reward from it, or more so like a personal achievement satisfaction behind it? Like,
And
not
a
everything
flex
has
helm.
to. Yeah, I mean, the helmet. Yeah, it's definitely a flex. I don't know.
I
I
think
mean,
I really hope, even if nothing else were to come from it, I really wish that hilt would teleport you into the bank vicinity rather than randomly in that little like crevice of moral wreck.
wait, where? Oh, yeah. It teleports you to Inferno. Yeah.
Yeah, it teleports you into like the random little spot. Like,
Does it teleport you to like right outside Inferno, kind of, or?
no. So right by the bank, you know that like bank area where there's like that
Yeah.
range. It teleports you like outside of the bank in that little indent.
I
There's
think.
like a little like if you looked at the map, you would see this little like indentation.
Yeah.
It teleports you inside of there, and it's really obnoxious.
I think they probably did that maybe so it's not best in slot bank, but I guess that could actually be like a better or like obviously it's not the best reward, but maybe that's the best in slot banking, so it's like faster banking than any other bank.
Yeah,
I
and
mean
there still is
that could
really
be a
fast.
decent reward.
Yeah, and like there already is a best in slot bank, which is the Sepulcher bank if you're not on PvP Worlds.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one now.
But that hilt is something you have to carry, so like you can't just have it on your max cape. Like Crafting Guild's amazing because it's just on your fucking back at all times.
Yeah.
I think a
Crafting
hilt
Guild
would
is
be
just
cool.
unbeatable right now just because of that. I mean, it's not unbeatable, but I mean, no one really wants to grind out Sepulcher to get the
Yeah,
teleports to constantly have them. But I think that like you're saying, having it closer to the bank, like I mean, even if it's best in slot banking, like I mean, that's some kind of reward to not be like super overvalued where people are like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah,
It's
that's
still like
nice.
something that it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's an incentive to do it.
Yes.
I mean, there definitely could be more rewards, but like I was saying, I don't think that it necessarily needs best in slot because I think it's the personal satisfaction of getting the achievement is the reward.
Yep. Yeah. I think they nailed it with combat achievements. I think the difficulty could have been a little bit tougher, but that's me after the fact. Of course, I thought a lot of them were really tough during it. So
Yeah, I've seen some people. I've seen some people that aren't really the best get the Grandmasters done. So it's like it's not like insanely tough. But if
if
you
you
want like
dedicate the
super
time, you can get it.
if you want super tough, join Obliv and try and do like the Obliv diaries because those are like pushing it to some of the times. The
Yeah.
Gauntlet one, I wouldn't even want to do that. I mean, that's not like insanely hard, but it's just so many resets and stuff that I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like you can set your if you really want a challenge, you can make your own challenge. I don't know. It's like, but
I
I mean,
mean,
at least it's something for people to go for that they have a
yeah.
goal of like getting better.
Yeah. No, it definitely taught me a lot of things. Just even Gauntlet taught me so much about Gauntlet of like learning how to unequip my weapon to kick Hunlift. Like that sounded so fucking tedious before I ever like did it. I was like, God, I'd never want to do this. But then I did it and I was like, this is actually pretty engaging. It's pretty fun doing
Yeah.
little weird things like that. Yeah.
I see a question here to say how many times did you finish the Cox log by Borkin?
Oh yeah.
But that I get so many questions of that because they're like, "Oh, he has 10,000 rates, KC," but little do they know I got like 9,000 of them before the log came out. So it's like,
Oh, true. Yeah, everyone.
yeah, even TOB, I don't even have that log completed. I mean, I think I have the Cox log complete, or I might actually have both completed now, but not like multiple times, just because like I was over 2,000 KC, like 2.5K by the time the call log came out. So
Yeah.
it's kind of unfortunate. Oh yeah, that's another thing to mention is I was actually the first person to get the Sinhaza Shroud Tier 5, which is the 2,000 TOB cape.
Dude, that is okay. Wait,
It
wait.
was so at one point it was the rarest item in game because I was the only person that had it.
Yeah. Wait, do
Or
you
like
have
for like a month or two.
do you have a 2K CM cape as well?
No, I'm only like 1,200 or something.
I was gonna say like that shit's. How many people even have that? Like the CM one. That's
There's quite a bit now. There's actually like over 25 people. I mean, that's still not that many, but yeah, there's
insane though. Those take forever to do. Like
yeah. I mean, if you do fives, it's a little bit more common, but
even
most
like the
people who do fives
resetting and
nowadays
everything. Yeah.
do speed runs now. So like when I do speed runs, we might not even see Olm for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
It's the
because all
resetting
this.
can.
Yeah.
So there's 32 people that have 2,000 or CM.
Damn, that's more than I thought. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's disgusting. That's a lot of
And then
time.
one of my teammates, OG Keck, he has 3,210. And then one of my other
Fuck.
teammates is Voss, and he has 3,083. And then
Are they dry on
his
dust or do they just do it for fun?
no, they have
Okay.
for fun and speeds. And then my friend Pahiz has 2,790. Uh, the rank 6 guy, Royal Rain, he's one of my friends too. For CMs, he actually went like 2,400 dry for his dust.
Fuck
I don't
that.
even think anyone would ever be even like halfway that close to being that dry. Isn't
God
that
damn
pretty
it.
crazy?
6 times rate,
Eh,
and you have to go beyond the cape. Like,
In terms of hours too, that's like insanely dry. That's one of the most driest items in game, probably in
God.
terms of hours.
Yeah,
Well, besides actually,
that's ridiculous.
Casey's BH pet is definitely. I don't think anything's gonna ever touch that. But uh,
Dude,
the still like 2,400 CMs is so many.
okay. Can you imagine yourself going 6 times rate for a bloodhound? Like,
I mean that's Casey got fed DMs, so I wouldn't even be able to
I
hit
know
that. Like
it's impossible
it'd
for
be
any
like
other normal player to do
yeah,
that.
it would be like 5 years from now, and I would be at like 3,000 if that. Like
Yeah.
just because of how like hard it is to get clues. I mean, with that new I mean, this is still kind of on topic. That new method, or well, it's not necessarily new, but the 2.3 elite clues per hour from Urium Shade Remains.
Yeah.
That like kind of helps because like right now I was buying DMs for a while and you lose so much that I mean DMs have gone up now and um it's like I sold all my DMs instantly and I bought just straight remains and I have enough to do like 400 clues because it's just like it like DMlings are such a waste now with that method. Like that method is so good.
Yeah. No, that's
Especially because you can just be on mobile. Like you can zero time it. I zero time collect the keys when I'm on like lunch break and stuff at work. And I literally just it's like zero time elites. I mean, I don't it's unbeatable.
and it's fun. You just get it's similar to the DM looting
Yeah.
where you just get these little loots here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually make money doing it too, which is even
Yeah.
crazier.
And you get XP.
So
So
yeah, it's actually pretty good XP. It's 930 XP per bone. Between fire making and prayer. It's like almost 400k or maybe even more than 400k fire making XP per hour, and then like 50 or like 80k prayer XP. So
Jesus.
it's actually like you can get like I think you could do 600 plus an hour, or like 650 an hour if you do the 7 tick method with Celestial Spark, and I mean 930. That's like what 540k an hour or something like that.
I wish
XP,
Irons could do
per
that.
hour. Yeah, so it's actually pretty good XP. Um, let alone getting GP from it and the elite clues is just insane.
Yeah. That's I'm jealous, dude. I would love to do that like off stream, get all the shit, and then on stream just go and have a bunch of fun.
That's what I've been doing. I have like almost 5,000 keys.
God.
I looted
So
some
nice.
over the weekend. I looted probably like 1,000 on stream, and I was doing clues and BA and
That's
yeah.
so fun.
So that was my plan. Is like every week I'll do them off stream, like whenever I'm AFK or if I'm not doing anything, and then I'll have like I don't have to do the boring stuff on stream. I can just loot the chest, do the clues, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay. I'll ask you, is there anything that we've kind of missed before I wrap up with the last final questions?
Um,
Anything you would like to
I
talk
mean,
about? I know we
we've
probably
kind of
missed a few things, but
yeah, we probably have. I mean, I feel like I can personally like once I get talking about RS stuff, I can just keep on talking. So
I love it, dude.
it's like yeah.
We're capped, unfortunately, with the podcasting house, and I don't like to go over 4 hours because then the quality goes down, even when it's approaching 4 hours. But
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we can always do another episode a different day
yeah,
if we have stuff to talk about. So it's like,
Lucid Dream Part
I
2.
yeah, I can always talk about stuff. I mean, I can talk. I'm watching this video of me doing switches as well. I mean, I've had people like compliment. It's weird because I've talked about it too, where I'm like insecure about my clicks, but like I mean, I don't want to say I have good clicks, but I mean, I have pretty decent clicks usually. I can do fast clicks, but my problem is dragging.
Yeah,
So it's like people compliment me and like, damn, you just did this crazy switch, and then I think that they're like making fun of me at first because I'm like, I always drag my switches a lot. Like here, I just posted that
that's it.
video right there, um, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are like, damn, like you'd be really good at Nilo boss because you can click fast. Your clicks are like insane, and I'm just like, and I feel like I'm always insecure about my clicks personally.
I think we're all pretty. Well, not everyone, but a lot of us are pretty shit at the game, just in general. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say I'm like, yeah, I have a Zook helmet, but like, God, I'm still horrible at the Inferno and stuff. Relatively, at least I feel that way. But I
Mhm.
think when you compare yourself to the average player, like you're probably comparing
Yeah.
yourself to like Adicon or Bodhi or something like the crazy clicks that are just
Yeah.
impeccable. But yeah, no, I think
And
your
like
clicks are
I don't know, I
great.
feel like I can't really. I mean, obviously I know that I'm not the best, but I know that I'm not like bad. It's just that I feel like I can't really. I have quite a bit of haters too lately, so it's like I don't really like. I don't really like to feed them and say like, oh, I'm insanely good, because then they just like laugh at the background. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I can definitely say that I'm like one of the more like concrete names in terms of like older PVMers, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a lot of newer names nowadays, like next gen raiders and stuff, that you're just like, damn, those guys are good.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I'm excited to see Raids 3 and what you do with it, and eventually start speed running Raids 3 and testing out invocations. I'm excited just for all of Raids 3. I'm so fucking pumped. And Nex
Yeah.
even. I've never done Nex, so
And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people might not really know, some of like the contributions that I've made to like some of the raids strats, raids 1 and raids 2, but I've been at the forefront, whether it's been my team or me myself that's came up with, a lot of these new like the current metas and stuff, and even like some of the older metas. Like my team was one of the first teams that started using chins at Maiden. Everyone
mm,
was just mage the Nilos,
yep.
and that was like a big game changer. So I mean,
All the theory
even when
crafting that goes involved that's involved
yeah,
in it. That's
I
sick.
mean, yeah, and like Nyla waves and stuff. I mean, obviously, like a couple people that I raided with are better at Nyla waves to me, but they were like the ones that like sat there and like figured out how to do it like correctly.
Yeah.
Um, and then even raids 1 alting, we were at the forefront of that, skipping melee attack specials or the lightning teleports and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And crystal spikes, we were like the first team that were skipping that and stuff. And that's kind of going back to on release. You just like everyone was running in and just tanking everything and getting teleported across the map and like yeah. So
All
I
right.
don't know.
Well, how about this? I like to ask my guests this to give 3 shout outs to members in the OSRS community, Twitch community, uh, just anybody. It doesn't have to be, they could be players, anything. So would you give 3 shout outs?
Um, Dio. I feel like I mean most people who are like in the forefront of PVMing nowadays know who Dio is, but he is one of the brains behind a lot of like speedrun strats and stuff. He's really like good at paying attention to ticks and doing calcs and all this stuff. Rusty, he's been at the forefront of pretty much all of my raids. Um, I feel like a third person would be pretty hard. I don't know. It's like I mean, there's so many people that I can shout out. That I mean, those are some of the 2 people that come to mind right now. But it's like so many people that I've raided with in the past and raid with currently. I mean, I'd say Golpar, like me, Rusty, and Golpar are like that trio group, or like the 3 musketeers that we've been together for. Well, that sounds kind of weird, but we've been like raids partners for so long that uh that's like the people that I'm pretty much like going to be friends with on RS always.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that'll kind of wrap it up. But Lucid Dream, we will definitely have to do another one of these, especially after Raids 3 and Next come out. I want to hear your thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to, since we talked about beforehand and then versus like afterwards, and what like our
Yes.
expectations were going in and what we got coming out. And
Yeah. No, and we'll see if the rewards are changed. Like, guaranteed there's going to be some changes. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But we'll have your links in the description, your uh, Twitter, your Twitch, and probably the Discord if you'd like, the Discord of the
yeah,
speedrun
that'd be nice.
speedrunning as well. Is there anything else you'd like linked?
Um, I mean, no, not really. I mean, I pretty much just use Twitter and Twitch. Like
Okay.
Twitter, I kind of like shit post a lot and just do random stuff on there, but I'm trying to like step away from that and get back into more just posting like RuneScape related stuff.
Awesome.
So, I mean, I'm
Well,
definitely more active on Twitch than Twitter, or at Twitter than Twitch, but I mean, I try to stream, nowadays.
yeah. Well, Lucid Dream, absolute pleasure. Like, seriously, tons of fun today. I'm just really happy with what we were able to cover, and I think we had just some really nice conversations, some good insights from both of us. So thank you
Yeah, I
for
feel
coming
like,
on.
I mean, it went so smooth that I mean, I didn't even realize how the time that went
I
by.
know
I'm
it's
just
been
sitting here blabbering, and we were talking about so many topics for so long. I think we were like talking about TOA and next for like 2 hours or something, and I mean,
uh,
it's definitely nice to
I
talk.
I need to ask one more thing before we end. Just for future guests, and I've probably mentioned this a few times in other casts, but how was being on the cast for those that may be on in the future? What are your
I mean,
thoughts now that you've been on it? Is
it
it
was
fine?
nice. I mean, I was more afraid of like being quiet or something, but you know, when I was not talking, I got to hear what you were saying, and then you were asking questions for certain things, and but then again, like once I get talking about certain topics, I can just like talk forever. So
It's the
like a
passion.
couple of days ago, someone on my Twitch asked, "Are you nervous to go on it?" And I'm like, I mean, I can blabber and talk, so it's like I don't really mind, you know."
Yeah. No,
So I
that's
mean, it's definitely very like friendly. I mean, we didn't really have any like arguments or you know any kind of
yeah.
like controversial things. So it's like, I mean, it was pretty definitely like friendly and welcoming.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I hope that's what I want the guests to feel. I want them to feel satisfied after being on it and everything. So thank you again, Lucid Dream. We'll end it off here. If you guys would like to support the cast, be sure to go down in the description. There'll be a Patreon link, and you can catch the deleted scenes that I have. There's a few deleted scenes on there as well. So go check them out, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.